on topic with the sequel to a movie that came out this week. So, guy walks into a bar and says, "Hey, I can fuck everybody in here." And someone says, "Why?" I'm not gonna say what he said because we're gonna transition right into the turkey baster man.
Oh god.
Oh my god.
Oh.
So where do we want to start?
The punchline to that joke, by the way, is I'm a rapist, which is why I'm just gonna roll
Alright.
right
Oh.
into.
I hope you can hear this because this is my response to that joke.
That was you opening a
I-
beer or
you know,
snapping some
yes.
spaghetti.
That was
I've killed a man.
Oh yeah, a
I heard
slight
that
man
joke
snap.
from Chris Antista on an episode of, I think. Oh fuck, what was it? That was had Diana on it, which is what shocked me the most.
Oh, so it was probably 30-20-10
It
then.
was actually 30-20-10.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that speaking of movies that I don't really ever want to see, yeah, the sequel to
Mhm.
My God.
But
So,
such a sequel.
we're-
He's now an anti-hero. He's the blind Punisher.
I don't understand why they did this. Did they do it so nobody else would do it? You know what? Let's try to silver linings this. Did they do this so nobody else would come along and really try to whitewash the character and like?
Well,
just-
are you
He's the
saying
completely
they,
blind
scrub it?
Punisher, turkey baster, rapist man.
are you saying they performed an evil to prevent a greater evil?
Yeah,
Is-
sure. Why
is
not?
that, that's
I would
kinda
say,
what
have
it-
you met Hollywood?
Well,
Hmm.
I have. I'm also thinking
so-
like,
Real quick.
what would Sam Raimi allow?
Apparently a whole lot. Real quick, we're talking about opening with Don't Breathe 2 in the first movie. And I'm
Mhm.
Connor, Eric's here, Arlen's here, Hunter's
Hi.
here, Lewis here.
This episode I like to be referred to as ivermectin.
God fucking damn it.
Luvermectin.
Luvermectin.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, Don't Breathe 2 came out like a week ago or something like that?
I don't know. It
And,
couldn't
like,
come out a
it seems-
month
it
ago.
seems like the collective like consciousness has been like, wait a minute, why did you do this?
Yes.
Why?
Also, like, can I state like my first thought is like, how are they getting away with that title in 2021? Just like in general.
Oh, you
Like-
know, I had Lou. You're thinking of something. Another problem. Where I'm like,
Wow.
Like,
I hadn't even thought of that. Yeah.
like how it's a movie about like the worst white guy getting turned into a good guy to
Is he the
do.
wor-
Mm,
is he in the running for worst white guy in film?
maybe. Yeah. Wait. Well, so what's the list? What's the list? The guy from Taxi Driver. He's got to be on there, right? Yeah. I mean,
And,
he's like
I was
low
like,
now.
Yeah.
Rafe Fiennes from Schindler's List.
Yeah.
Most
Well,
of the
I think
cast
all
themselves-
Nazis get their own category.
Yeah,
They get their
yeah.
own separate list.
They're in the worst
Um,
Nazi
It
category.
can't be based like sort of on real people like that.
What about the lead character from A Serbian Tale?
Yeah, I don't even
God,
need to see it, and
okay,
I'm like,
all
yeah,
right.
yeah.
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 I mean, you gotta go into some darker territories to find worst white
I
guy.
think the difference is that like that guy is essentially was not coerced, but like he gets manipulated, kind of, right?
yeah, kind of.
And like
yeah.
in Don't Breathe, Stephen Lang's character is like, I'm not a rapist, but and then pulls out
It doesn't
pulls
count
out
as rape if you use a turkey based.
a turkey baster
Mhm.
full of his own fucking spunk.
Well, that's
How many
Mm.
times does he have to use it for it to work?
He's blind.
That's
Well,
like that is the terrible part of like movie logic is when you actually think about the logistics of it, it's always a million times worse.
I think-
Well, that's what we were doing the other night, where I came to the conclusion that like he has to be putting some dead jism into this woman some of the time. Some of the time,
He's
it's
also
stuff
like
that's-
he's got to be like missing a lot and thinking he's in one spot and he's not.
Well, my bigger question is, how many times did he not put murder jism inside this girl, and he put something else that he thought was
Yes.
murder jism? Like, oh, sorry, that was pickle juice. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
that was
See,
used
that was
to make it
Haagen
work.
I never
Dazs.
saw
That
the
was
first
Yeah.
that
movie.
was.
My assumption was he was just shooting right into the baster and then just putting the squeezy part on top of it.
No, mason jars. They explicitly
that's
show him
great.
pulling out.
Oh God, they do.
Yeah. They
Oh,
show him
no.
pulling out mason jars, and then this is something that Hunter had even forgot. and I distinctly remember him putting it on a hot plate
Oh,
to warm it up.
That's
that's
not
right.
how
That
they
would-
immediately, like, science-wise, they immediately die. Like, he
that
kills
would
them.
smell terrible
So-
too.
Oh,
I think
Yeah.
Alvarez and Raimi were like, what, whatever. It'll shock the fuck out of them so much that by 10 minutes later they won't feel it or remember it. And then the problem is, I think we
See-
all went into some kind of coma. And then the second movie came out, we're like, wait a second, you did the thing in the first movie. How dare you?
See, in my heart of hearts, I hope that this was like all Sam Raimi's brother's idea. What the hell's his stupid name?
Ted
Raimi.
Ted Raimi. He was like,
He's a secret
just,
sociopath.
he's just snorting some Nas in his dentist office because that's what he is, even though he's in all of Sam Raimi's movies. And this was his like Nas-induced like idea.
Sean Gunn is across the hallway. Like, the fuck is wrong with you?
It's like, dude, no. Like, I already survived. Don't do this.
Dude.
You're under the Marvel payroll now.
You remember when I
Don't
was
do this.
Joxer and fucking Hercules or Xena, whatever the fuck it was?
Yeah. Just like, come on, man, you gotta do Doctor Strange too. Don't fuck this up.
Are you telling me Ted Raimi, coked out Ted Raimi, is the angel and devil that sits on Sam Raimi's shoulders?
Yes.
Well,
it's-
Ivan
it's-
Raimi
yeah.
is the angel. Ted Raimi is the devil.
Dude.
Yeah, I read like the Wikipedia stuff about the plot of this movie. I don't remember all of it anymore. I read it once. I'm like, yep, that about lines up. And
For
it,
the second one or the first one?
second one.
Yeah, and like I got it from Man of the Jedi. She like broke it down kind of like basically like act by act essentially. And like, yeah, like he's now kind of a kidnapper too.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
again,
seems
he
it-
kidnaps again.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, like, he definitely kidnapped at the end of the first movie.
Yeah,
He's
well,
keeping
it's
her
more-
to do that.
In this case, it's you've turned kidnapping into I've absconded with your child because you walked out of a burning house and I've changed her name and adopted her. Like,
Yeah.
but then like
Yeah.
the movie tries to double down, and you might have to correct me on this if you remember it or not, but like the enemies he's contending with are like organ stealing,
Meth heads,
human
I think?
trafficking,
Yeah.
meth heads. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought the meth thing was something my brain added to just make it seem like they're somehow worse.
No,
No,
because
meth is the new cocaine. So
the big twist is like at the end, if I remember correctly, that the mother had actually set fire to the meth house
Yes,
that
yes,
she
and-
was
yeah.
in, and
One of the,
and that
and
was
one of the human-
how.
Yeah, go ahead. And yeah,
No, go
one
ahead.
of the human traffickers was her dad.
Yeah,
oh my god,
Yeah.
this sounds like I'm not even joking. This sounds like the worst like pitch for like a Punisher maxi series in like 1997.
yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Right after Fool Killer came out, just
Oh
like
my! I was gonna
Yes.
say like who would have pitched this? What's his name that did Wanted?
Mark Millar.
or
Yeah,
and then, like, it doesn't- if it-
or Preacher, but he would have done it as like a joke pitch, not like a real
Yeah.
pitch.
That would have
Oh,
been like
alright, that is.
who wrote Happy?
Yeah,
Happy is
It was
Morrison.
Grant Morrison.
I could see
Yeah.
more.
No.
How that book is written, like I could see him taking this idea and turning it into absolute fucking nonsense, but good nonsense.
See,
Um,
that's the thing. Like,
Morrison
Happy-
doesn't do the sexual stuff like that.
No, like Morrison did like who's the character in Happy? I can't remember his name. Like he sucks. Like he's not
Yeah,
evil, but
he
he
does.
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
sucks. And like by the end of it,
Yeah.
you're like, wow, I kind of feel bad for the dude, but yeah, he's fucking terrible.
Yeah,
Well,
because Morrison is not like a
Sure.
pro-cop guy.
I
But
had
yeah.
read somewhere that Happy was Grant Morrison trying to write like Mark Millar.
That makes a lot of sense. I actually think
Yeah?
there's a funny transition here to like one of the other big news topics of the week, talking about Morrison and his book. Like if we go to Invisibles and
Oh yeah. That actually is a pretty good transition to talk about that a little bit.
Before we
Hmm.
get off this though, oh man, I hate that I just fucking said that.
sorry.
I've got a mason jaw that needs filling.
Doesn't he die at the end of this one? If I remember correctly, it says in the fucking.
I think so.
No.
Yeah, and
And then,
he
like, and then
dies,
the-
but he wakes up and he really wants to get unobtainium.
The whole thing has been a dying dream he's having on
It's
fucking
it's a
Pandora with
no,
a spear
it's
in
a
his
yeah,
chest.
it's a training sequence in like a VR dream machine. That's part
Right.
of his training.
He's like, "Ugh."
Mhm.
yeah, it's showing that he's ruthless enough.
Where's
to kill all
Giovanni
these blue
Ribisi?
people.
I think
Yeah.
I think it says he dies, and like the little girl is like, "My name is Phoenix Skywalker," blah blah blah, and then like just like moves on with her life, like accepting this awful man was her adopted father. And if I remember correctly, there's no mention of what he does in the first movie to really any degree for what it sounds like.
I
So, like,
thought
what
he was
is-
a
so-
retired Marine or something like that. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think Connor means like the killing and raping.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
all the turkey based. And
So is it implied in the second one
Oh.
that like eventually he just gave up on the turkey baster and I guess killed her?
no, she died in the first one because. Well, wait, they don't say if he went and kidnapped what's her face because he follows at the end of the movie.
Oh,
I-
really?
Yeah, at the end of Don't Breathe 1, he's seen still kind of following oh shit. I can't remember the actress's
Oh.
name, but from the one from Evil Dead and Don't Breathe.
I
Yeah, it
I did
shows
not
him, like-
remember this.
it shows him like tailing her still, and like the implication is like, ooh, he's not done yet, and like this when he came out, I'm like,
Right.
So did he do the thing and then just let her go? Like what the fuck?
Yeah, on his way to following her, he found a burning building. And just-
Son of a bitch.
Maybe.
Later, Rocky and Diddy. Season news report about the incident. Nordstrom, who is recovering in a hospital in under stable condition, is reported to have killed 2 intruders in self-defense. He does not mention Rocky, Cindy, or the stolen cash. Rocky and Diddy board a train to Los Angeles. So yeah, he's in the hospital. It says, according to the Wikipedia article, at the end of the first movie. So
Okay.
he's. I guess they let him. They got away with it because he said they were intruders. I don't know.
Wow, what a hero. They kick his
Mm.
ass, run away, and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Those people don't exist.
So he's like, "Oh, I survived that thing. Now
I
I'm a
just-
good person."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a changed man.
Uh,
He murders the first victim that he has accidentally. He shoots her by accident because Rocky like is trying to get her out, and Lang shoots his former kidnapping victim instead.
oh, because he's blind and he's shooting a gun. Good job. What a great choice you made, dude.
So I
Um,
gave him too much credit. It's not a hot plate. It's just a straight up pan on a
Oh.
stove.
But like,
Oh, no.
that's
uh,
still makes no sense. Like, what is his purpose? To keep it warm?
I
That's-
guess. Well, it starts
That's
out
not how.
frozen,
That's
Lou,
not.
because he had it
He
in the
wants to make
freezer.
her comfortable. He
Yes,
doesn't want
I'm
to just shoot
sorry,
a bunch of
like-
cold juice up there.
Lou, he had it
Like-
in a freezer. This is the other thing that I was getting caught up on the other night is he was freezing it, and he's freezing large amounts of it.
But
How
so
is he getting that much?
So
How is he
logistics-wise,
producing that
again-
much?
Well, no. Here's my.
Eating a lot
Is
of
he
celery.
freezing it, taking it out, putting more in, putting it back in the freezer,
Ugh.
and that is the
Oh.
process?
I hate every detail.
Well,
of this
that's what I
God.
was asking.
conversation
Was
right
he
now.
continually taking it out and adding, or was he
Well-
just waiting until he got?
Well,
a
that
certain
is
amount?
like one of my favorite parts of like dissecting movies is the logistics, because I can't remember what I was listening to, and they were talking about like and this reminds me of the game, like that 12 minutes game is like the logistics of a time loop, and they were talking about this like how you would become insane, and talking about Groundhog Day. It's like, yeah, Bill Murray is not in love with I can't remember the actress's name. It's like he's basically spending
Andy
like
McDowell, yeah.
Annie McDowell, like hundreds of years manipulating this woman into a relationship over the course of like finding the perfect sequence, and it is such a psychopathic move to do.
Well, and if you want to look at that a little bit more too, it would be their relationship would be doomed because the first time something goes wrong, he would be trying to fix it and realizing, oh no, I don't have
He's
that
gonna
option to repeat.
Walk in front of a
thing."
train.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
The psychological like side effects of being caught in a time loop for hundreds of years. Good lord.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
somebody did the math at some point of like how I think it was tied to like the piano stuff, like how long it would take you to become that good, and it was like decades.
yeah.
Well, especially if it's just like if it's just one day, like
Yes, and for like 10 or 15, like 1 hour class, like a day.
it's why one of my favorite episodes of Doctor Who is it's Heaven Sent, right? Yeah, Heaven Sent. Because Heaven Sent and Hell Bent.
Yeah.
Heaven Sent is like almost a
Yeah.
dialogueless episode where it's mostly just the Doctor who's stuck in a time loop where he had to kill, where he essentially kills himself over and over again, and by the end of it, he's like, "Oh, I've been here for 4 million years." I'm like, "Oh my god, this is a fucking horror."
Oh, it's a psychological
Yeah,
trauma
yeah.
of something like that.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
time loop is there's no way for it to not be a horror movie unless it's like very short. Like it is, because at some point you're just doing shit because you're just like, well, I've done everything else.
And imagine
Mm.
the fact, like, because you're stuck in a time loop and like you're in, like, wait, are you gonna get on a fucking plane and go to Honolulu? Like, no, you're stuck in a pretty limited space if you think about it. You can't go far. Doesn't
Yeah.
Tom Cruise like go for a fucking motorcycle ride in Edge of Tomorrow and like just to watch the news, but then like in like a couple hours the fucking day's gonna reset?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he rides all the way
Yeah.
out to like some British pub somewhere, and is just watching things happen. And he's in his military outfit, but he's got like a coat over it. And some of the guys at the bar see he's wearing that, and I forget what happens next. I haven't watched that movie in a while, but I think he ends
I
up dying somehow.
I think
Yeah, I
I
fucking
think the
love that movie.
creatures like end up invading.
Yeah, I think you're
Well,
right.
I think at the end of every loop, if he doesn't stop
Yeah.
it just blows up and it starts over or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it usually blows up. I think in this case, it's like a bunch of the creatures are coming up the Thames or something.
Oh
Like
yes.
they're
Yeah, something
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is
something
one of
like
my
that.
favorite time loop movies because at some point like he's drunk and he's got no helmet on.
Yeah.
No,
He's
and-
like
and,
whatever.
and everyone's fucking freaked out by him. They're like, "Oh my god, what the fuck is wrong with you?"
Yeah.
It's great. It's great. I think it was great because he inherently realized that there was potential for comedy there and leaned into it.
Mhm.
And, like,
That
as
is my
insane as-
favorite Tom Cruise movie. Like he is really fucking good in that movie, and like it kind
Well,
of
that's the
I mean,
thing.
it's
Is
a good
like,
pick. Yeah.
as much of a monster as he is a fucking great actor.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
Yeah.
with being a
Absolutely.
monster though, like didn't we talk about him like being like a weird monster, but also like has done some like out of control nice things for people?
oh, he is everything I've
Yeah.
heard that he is the best person to ever do a film with. Like, he is
Mhm.
awesome. He helps everyone. He is like gives brings in food for people. He's super happy with everybody, and it's like that. He is just the most. He radiates like he's like a sun. Like everybody just wants to be around him. It's like, oh yeah, that sounds like a cult leader, but like
Mhm.
yeah, but like he is also
No
like,
shock.
he is fucking amazing in the films he does.
Yeah. He also patented his
Yeah.
own run. But I think I heard that he paid the medical bills of someone he saw get like hit by a car or some shit.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I'd read something along those lines.
Yeah.
too.
It's
I
part
don't
of
remember what it
reducing
is.
his thetans, but like
Yeah,
you know,
that's true. Yeah.
but like he is like legitimately like I can't think of a movie that I've seen Tom Cruise in that he was bad.
Where you're like, he sucks. Like, no,
But
he's
he-
usually
yeah,
like,
no, yeah,
acting his
yeah.
ass off, but like something around him might be terrible.
Yeah,
The
like the Mummy.
only times
I've
the
not
only
seen
times where
that,
I would
so-
say he's bad is like where he's miscast. And even then, he's doing what he can with what he has.
he is always giving 1,000,000%.
I
Like,
looking at him in
yes.
Tropic Thunder, like I couldn't believe it. Like it pans over, I'm like, oh my god, there's Tom Cruise, and he's being
Mhm.
a fucking maniac.
Well, I
Well,
think he agreed to
fucking
do
movie.
that movie because he discovered the whereabouts of Miscavige's dead wife.
well, he's also
Yeah.
supposed. I think that's supposed to be like his parody on one of the Weinstein, isn't it?
I wouldn't be surprised on that either.
It is,
think
yeah, I
that's
think it
part
is.
of
Also,
it.
him and
Oh.
Stiller are like old friends, I guess, because they both came up around the same time.
That makes
Um,
sense.
I don't. I think
yeah.
it's
That makes
like
sense.
because I watched I think I got through like half of the Val Kilmer doc and like looking at the Top Gun stuff. It's like,
Mhm.
man, this motherfucker has never done. He's never really whiffed.
No, I mean the
No.
movies around him have, but nobody
Sure.
like Connor
But
was
like
saying,
it doesn't
where-
stick to him. He's
Yeah,
Yeah,
He's
no,
Tom
he
Cruise.
is,
Yeah,
there's
Tom Cruise
nothing-
is fucking Hollywood Teflon. Like the dude could be in,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
he was in the Mummy, which killed a franchise, and Tom Cruise walked away
Yeah.
from that without a scratch on
Yeah.
him.
well. It was the 7th time a universe was killed. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, well,
that
well,
movie
like,
was the one.
I
That
mean-
movie was the big budget
Yeah.
movie that ate shit so hard that they're like, all right, we're not
Right.
doing this.
well, it's like
Well,
we
it's not
tried
even-
with
it's-
Tom Cruise.
yeah.
There's no hope. Like
It's also like movies from years ago that nobody has good things to say. Nobody comes back to him. Like nobody
No.
talks about Vanilla Sky
Oh,
because of
see,
him.
like
Didn't
Well, like,
Legend get
and there's-
panned when it came out?
yes, and like
Oh, yeah.
Vanilla Sky is wild, but it is so interesting. Like I can't
Yeah.
remember the last I watched not too long ago, and it's like it is a wild movie, and it does have like that kind of time loopy stuff to it too, where it's
Sure.
real weird. But like it's also the thing with him. It's like he does all these crazy action movies, but then he does do like these wild heady movies,
Mhm.
like because he did Vanilla Sky. What's the sex mask thing?
Eyes
with
Wide
the
Shut.
Eyes Wide
Yeah.
Shut.
Well,
Like,
that
he
was
also-
that's like late 90s, early 2000s Tom Cruise. He's really trying to be a serious actor. He's trying to be recognized and get awards.
Yeah.
Stuff
Was for
going for
You
him.
know who else has like the same kind of? I don't know. There's like Christian Bale, kind of like slightly reminds me of Tom Cruise, which is weird because Christian Bale based Bateman off of Cruise.
I actually, I agree with you. I think he's a little bit closer to the actor spectrum.
Yeah, because I don't think Tom Cruise would be willing to be like, oh yeah, I'll put on 200 pounds. It'll be Dick Cheney.
Here's
Yeah.
Christian Bale is who Tom Cruise thinks he is.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think they're like, I will watch pretty much anything those two guys do. Like what he does in those Mission Impossible movies, like I think he pretty much is like gonna die filming a movie.
Yes.
Which
he will.
is like
probably.
a whole thing. But
Well, it's weird. So late stage Tom Cruise, he's the only Tom Cruise who has like chosen a specific lane to just ride until he dies, basically. Which is why I think you're correct, Lou. I think he intends
oh my god,
to die.
I just
doing
Dude,
something
man, like
crazy.
the shit. What was the thing he did in the last one? Where it's like he
went
jumps
to
across
space.
Wait, did he?
Yeah, I think so. Didn't he like break the atmosphere?
In the one
or
that
some shit?
they're
I think that's the
shooting
one
and they're
they're
gonna
filming.
shoot.
Yeah.
Is that the one they're filming? Okay, I know that there was something where he is going to do something where they're leaving the atmosphere for real.
Fuck.
Well, just the last few
took
movies.
the wind out of me.
Just the last few movies, in no specific order, he almost drowned.
Mhm.
He shattered his ankle jumping off of one building.
That's what I was thinking. He jumps across a
yeah.
building and lands like. You watch the landing, you're like,
Yeah,
that was flush, but like,
yeah, it's the
shattered
take that
his
they
ankle.
use in the movie, and he shattered his ankle because he's fucking 60 years old.
Yeah.
With the best technology and science pumped into him.
Yes.
Yeah, and he came back after a month, which
he's
crazy.
on 25 different IVs of TRT.
Well, yeah, it's like Magic Johnson and his AIDS. Yeah, it's just it's gone.
Go back to
he also has sex with fish that he gets out of
hey, man,
markets, and
it works. If that's the secret to his like youth, like I don't know, he looks younger than ever.
Well, and then if you go back to Bale, like Bale's thing is not throwing himself into a building or into space or drowning, but like Bale's thing is like, yeah, I will shrink into a skeleton and then bulk back up for Batman, and then become a great little fat man and do this all within like 5 years and not care about the repercussions of my body.
Bale did he's the more what's his name Daniel Day-Lewis school, but except he did some big budget.
Yeah, the method acting. Yeah.
Well,
he
did also the big action movie.
And the thing that Jared Leto wants to do that he
Jared Leto in Jared Leto's mind, he is greater than Christian Bale.
Oh yeah,
well,
yeah, absolutely. Well, he's a god on Earth, clearly.
Bale has also said after Cheney that he's not going to do any more of the crazy.
Oh, that destroyed his body.
Yeah.
He said that he just can't do it anymore. But it's just.
But I did have a thought, and I feel like this is not too unrealistic. Pre-podcast conversation, I could see them doing a film. Although he has only played a villain like really 1 or 2 times, but he was good as it. Tom Cruise in a Fast movie.
He'll be like the antagonist who's like, you guys are okay by the end of it, and then family.
Yeah.
I could see him being like a member of a law enforcement or a military group. So it's still like he's a good guy, but he's trying to stop the family.
Eric, I kind of want to fucking see that now. Damn it!
Yeah, doesn't it sound like a good because they work for one military, but he works for I could see him playing the conservative group, but like the conservative bad guy. Because the movie I think of when I think of him as a villain is Collateral. I think that's what it's called, right? With Jamie Foxx.
Collateral,
yeah.
And
that Man movie.
good.
I could see him playing like a guy who's like a true assassin. Like he just
I was gonna say like, what if he like, Willem Dafoe in John Wick was like, you thought it was building up to him being like the dude who's gonna take out John Wick, and it turns out they're buddies. Like, I could see Cruise being the one who's just stalking the Fast crew for the entire movie and just tagging him until.
I mean, honestly, he's just playing Henry Cavill's character from the last Mission Impossible, is what we're describing.
Oh, okay.
That's his thing in the movie, where it's like, if you don't do things the way I say, I'll just shoot you. I don't give a shit about the theatrics.
He's the new government liaison for with the team, and then he has the heel turn at the peak of the movie, because I think he would work really as a government stooge guy that's like
Sure.
happy and go like happy working with the team, working with Vin, but then he's like, no, fuck you guys, like.
I mean, just as a real wrench in the way that they've done the Fast movies is I would love if they went the finale of Seinfeld with it.
Or with their own jail.
And Tom
Oh.
Cruise is the president, and he's like, we can't allow this anymore. This needs to be stopped.
You've stumbled across something compelling because, like, if one of these movies were to end like a big fucking downer, like kind of cliffhanger, I can see that franchise making a big fucking turnaround real fast for at least one more movie.
See, like that's where I think, if anything, you said Seinfeld. Like my thought would be Sopranos. Like it just ends with ambiguously, like, is Dom dead?
Right.
And they just leave it at that.
So yeah, like,
Are they all being put into a space capsule and sent into the sun to
like
be
Infinity
destroyed?
War? Like
so they
it just
can't-
ends on Tom Cruise sitting on his fucking front desk and he like takes a breath and it's just like the Fast Crew return. Like,
Yeah.
or with a question mark, or will they?
Mhm.
The next movie is just 5 seconds of that capsule being shot into the sun, then credits.
See, but Dom would look at the sun and say, "You
Family.
can never stop family."
And then
the sun would just reject him.
the sun just whips him back.
Yeah, just whips him back. Yeah.
Like a solar flare, like bam.
Oh
Nah,
my
we
god.
cool, Dom.
Like I love how like we all joke. It's like Vin Diesel has found some magic. That like infinity magic. He tries to do everything else,
Flo,
and nothing else works.
Well,
so
so that's
I'm picturing this son with a big
Yeah.
pair of sunglasses, just like look at, just going like, "You all right, crew?" And just like one of his little
Oh.
fucking flame whips, just like smacks the fucking capsule right back to her.
well.
He
So
just
Lou, on,
the sun just fist bumps Dom.
Lou, on what you're saying, it's like a monkey's paw though, because
Nothing
if he-
else works.
if he does something successful, it's not something with his face in it. It's him
Yeah.
doing a voice role.
Doing
But if
Groot
it,
or Iron
right.
Giant.
yeah, or it's like the Triple X movie, which was only really successful because they moneyballed it. They were like, let's get this successful person who's really big in China. Let's get this successful person who's really big in
that's
Malaysia.
the third one. The first one is I like the first one a lot. Again,
I
it's
know,
like that-
but the third one is the biggest success of the three of them. That's why.
the third one I think goes to Vin's genius of being like,
Mhm.
let's just make a movie for overseas where we'll make
Yes.
we'll make $80 million in the US and 800 in the world.
Yep.
And
Yep. I'll
um,
cast Ruby Rose, who the internet knows, and I'll cast so on and so forth, and
yeah,
people who can
and they each have
track
two
the
lines.
audience.
They each have
You
two
know, though,
lines.
Even when he makes a Riddick movie, like like Chronicles of Riddick, he bamboozled Helen Mirren into that fucking movie.
No, wrong.
No,
wrong
Judi
actress.
Dench.
No,
Yeah,
Helen
yeah.
Mirren has a crush on him.
Judi Dench
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
is
There
in
we
the
go.
second one.
Judi Dench, Keith David, Carl Urban, like
Well,
good
Keith
Well-
David's in the first one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Keith
he's in
David was
Pitch
like
Black.
grandfathered in, but
Yeah,
he
yeah,
did,
but,
like,
Also,
he-
Keith David's not getting. He's coming for the paycheck.
yeah.
I've seen
but, like,
Keith David in 7. He was
I
on
just-
the Cape.
I can't
He
believe
was on
Vin
the
Diesel,
NBC show, The Cape.
but like Vin Diesel parlayed Pitch Black
So was Vinny
Into-
Jones.
into Chronicles of
true.
Riddick, which is a gigantic fucking like really ambitious way to carry that franchise. And then like
I love
Well,
that
yeah.
movie too.
I do love that movie because especially watch the director's cut. You're like, whoa, you were fucking going
Mhm.
places with this shit.
And I've never seen the third one.
Oh, Riddick
Yeah.
fucking rules, dude.
But
That's
I
that's what
love
I was gonna
those
say.
games.
Like
those
he's
games.
the games are great too, and that's what I'm gonna say. Like he's smart as a producer because then with the third one, he gets Batista, Katie Sackhoff, and like
He shrinks
just-
it again.
He
I
shrinks
think
it
it's
and
where they,
plays,
yeah,
plays
yeah.
specifically to like he's like, no, this will get action and sci-fi fans like
What's
in
with, like,
droves.
Vin Diesel
Well,
is
yeah.
going to be a weird historical, like Hollywood historical character. It's like he is kind of this like savant of stuff because like, but then he is a giant nerd. Like everybody knows, he made like he plays D&D. He has microphones set up in every room in his house so that he can do karaoke when he feels like it. He is a
Oh,
fucking
wow.
crazy.
No one wants to hear
monster.
I like how
person.
Leonardo's just like joined the show. He's like, I've been here the
Yeah,
whole time.
he's just here.
Like he
yeah,
makes the
I wanna
last
put him in a
Witch
break.
Hunter, like he put like, and I feel like to me like those are his dream projects. Are like Last Witch Hunter and Bloodshot, and they're so bad. But then
Can I make a small comment on the D&D thing?
Mhm.
A few years ago, Joe Manganiello was on, I think, Stephen Colbert or something,
Mhm.
and he was talking to him about like Lord of the Rings and D&D. They never talked about what he was there for because he's like, I don't care, I'm here to talk to you. But Stephen Colbert is like, oh, what about Vin Diesel? And he's like, I don't know if I fully believe Vin Diesel does D&D as much as he says. And like he wasn't like trying to talk shit at him, but he was just like,
Yeah.
well, you know, I play with
Vin
a lot
Diesel's
of
like
writers.
is a level 12 like warlock, and he's gonna come in and crack him in the face. Like,
Oh no, it's just that he said I play with a lot of like not just like famous people, like I play with like the writers and the cameramen and like the lighter people who on the TV shows I work with because they're like real nerds. And I've always asked about Vin Diesel, but no one's ever said that he actually plays. So he's like, I don't. He's like, I
feel
don't know.
like it's one of those things where he played when he's a kid, but he's too big now.
And loves the aesthetics and everything goes into it,
Yeah.
but doesn't actually play.
Well, and that's backing up what Leo was saying. Like, I know Joe Manganiello just recently got involved with a company that's going to be revealing my real D&D or whatever role playing nerd here. But he got involved with a company that's going to be doing like an AR version of maps using Dwarven Forge miniatures.
That's awesome.
Which, if you don't know, Dwarven Forge are the people that make these ridiculously expensive like set pieces for when you want to have like a realistic dungeon setting for your miniatures and stuff like that.
I've gotten
so
really
Joe Manganiello
into...
he walks the walk and talks the talk.
Yeah.
So I
I've
believe
gotten really
he knows
into
what
in the last month watching like live plays, and it is very fun.
I think when Vin Diesel says I like D&D, I think he likes sword and shield magic and spells.
That's what
I think that's what.
And
he
I do
means.
think that I think Connor was right in saying that he did play D&D at various points because that movie, The Last Witch Hunter, is supposed to be based on his D&D character.
Well, I need to watch that and see if it's actually accurate.
Which is very funny because I've only ever heard of one other person like bringing their D&D character into another medium, and it was a comic book.
It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen very much.
Eric,
I really need you to see The Last Witch Hunter because it's surprisingly good, and I don't know if that's because of the D&D aspects or if it's in spite of it.
Witch Hunter podcast?
Oh God!
I mean,
all right, I gotta go back.
In a world where I could control everything,
Yeah.
There's only one Hispanic allowed on the podcast.
The colored is leaving. The colored is leaving.
Wow.
Lou,
I invoke my right.
Lou, the third Riddick movie, however, is really fucking good. Because now he doesn't just shoot again, but like he has Riddick get made an ass out of in the first 5 minutes, which is really
because he has to get he made him OP at the end of the
and so
movie.
basically Carl Urban Urban comes back as Vaco for about 10 minutes, and he's like, hey, look, nobody wants you around here, so what if I just bring you to Furia and then we call ourselves even? And Vin Diesel's like, deal. Urban brings him to a fucking desolate rock and then just kicks his ass and leaves him there.
His Furia is fucking
That was
terrible.
very Carl Urban.
But the thing is, like, the world building they do in that second movie is like, I want to see this sci-fi world more.
Right. I want to see this like dead world where everything is like reversed or whatever.
That turn of the one character, I don't remember the actor's name. I know he was on Law and Order at one point. When he reveals that
or who?
The one that reveals that he was
Linus Roach. Linus Roach, yeah.
Yeah, the necromonger who shows up and he's basically like, yeah, you guys can go. He's like, the necromonger in me says I should let you go, but the Fury in me disagrees, and like he takes off his helmet and gets incinerated by the fucking sun.
It's such a good scene. I love that scene.
So there's a whole Oracle character they cut out of that movie that appears in Vin Diesel's dreams, and she gives Fury and Warriors the fucking handprint on the chest. And like they cut out other characters, and like they cut out like a whole bunch of their lore and stuff like that. Like that director's
all
cut is wild.
All that lore stuff it tells, like, to me, is all Vin. Like all that kind of stuff.
No, it's no. So Lou, here's why. Yeah, David Cooey, right? He wrote like novels and shit or something like that. Like he wrote like fantasy novels, I think. or something.
I guess like the part of me
Um,
that the reason I like him is because him doing all the voice work for those 2 games is so mind-boggling
Man,
to me.
those 2 games are some of the best
Best
games ever
games
played
ever
based on a
made.
fucking movie, like, because they're not based on a movie, but they're extensions of a movie franchise.
Sequels.
Like, they are,
Yeah.
they're canonically sequels and prequels, I think. They are astoundingly good. Like, Escape from Butcher
Oh,
Bay is one of the
is
best stealth action games I've ever played, and then Assault on
and
Dark
it is
Athena is a fucking phenomenal
that
first-person
first
shooter.
game was on the original Xbox, and like the graphics were astounding at the
It
time.
was so good, they ported it over to Xbox 360, and they're like, "Yeah, here you go, boom, an extra game bundled in there," and both games still play like a fucking dream.
Yeah, oh, it's so good.
And like exhibits in the first game.
Oh yeah, he's
That's
the
not a
warden.
sign of quality.
No, you say that, but he does great voice
he's good.
work, man.
He's playing a prison warden, and he's a piece of shit.
And hey,
Um,
remember who was also part of Exhibit's crew? That's a pretty good actor. Is the dude on Black Lightning that plays Whale? Like,
Oh shit!
Oh shit,
yeah, he was part of that crew. Like, he was part of Exhibit's crew.
man, that's a
Like,
show I need to finish.
I need to
because
finish. I saw the
I need
first
to give that
episode
show
of the
the
new season.
dignity it deserves because it was standing above everything else when it was on. So
That's
Dude,
the thing. I'd like to go back and check it out again, but I worry that I'm going to be like, oh, this isn't that great
Okay,
because
I've
I'm
seen
not
the
going to have the
one-
horrible sun of the Flash shining upon it.
Oh, I saw the first episode of the last season, and it starts off with like he's driving, and there's a kid getting like kind of I don't know how to term pulled over as he's walking by cops and getting like kind of roughed around. He's like, dude, he didn't do anything, and the cop immediately pulls the gun on Jefferson,
Oh,
and
cool.
he's like, what is happening? And like just like fucking like everything that happened in season 2 is like fuck y'all. It just like beats the shit out of the 2 cops.
Yeah,
fuck yeah,
Uh,
all right then.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
That's
is a show
cathartic.
that like doesn't even try to not like it leans. It's not even leaning. It just is political in the best ways. Like I love
mean,
that show.
Not to be a heel here, but like those shows have always been pretty good about that. But it's nice to hear that show didn't back down from being like, yeah, no,
and that
fuck
that
Yeah.
show was the
fuck
one that
this.
like they could not be that way.
Imagine the Flash
Right.
trying a fucking I can't breathe style like.
No,
Well,
but
the
there-
only shows that
if
that's
there
the
was a
only-
way to make that work, though, they could. But there's no
Well, the thing
natural
is,
way
of
to
all the
do
shows,
that for
Flash
them.
is the only one that never did that. Because remember, Arrow had the gun episode,
Right, and that kind
and
of
that
made
was
sense
really
for
good.
Arrow.
Arrows have-
Super-
Arrows had
Mhm.
multiple like episodes that are because like Renee's whole thing is guns, and like he is the one who gets most affected by it.
Yeah, as a
Right.
a male young Latino guy, like
Yeah.
and he's the pro gun guy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I hope the strong arms of Curtis, Mr. Terrific, would help him out when he would come home from a hard mission.
That's something that the CW has always been admirable for, is that they have a slew of gay characters and they're not like patting themselves on
Oh,
the back.
that
They're
was-
just there.
Well, that was like
Right.
the one of the best scenes they ever did in the Flash was when they made, well, not made because he is in the comic, like when Khan was visiting his husband, and it was just a throwaway line, and it was just it wasn't nothing.
Oh, Sing. Oh,
Sing.
yeah.
What did I say?
Yeah,
his
they're
name
like,
was?
yeah,
Khan.
I'm going to see my
Khan.
husband.
Yeah, and he
Um,
became a cool character, and like what they did with Supergirl with the sister was such a interesting idea to just like fully explore that as a B plot for seasons.
well, and then she shows up in Crisis on Earth X, and
Yeah.
like
And has
is a-
like the
is a-
booty call of the night
is
with
like
Sarah.
is the shining star of the first act of that whole thing, because her and Sarah are stealing the fucking
Oh,
show
the best
together.
line's like, "Are you okay? You fell out of bed this morning."
Yeah.
And I love Melissa Benoist is like so good at her
She's like,
face. It's
"You had a
like
one night stand. I'm so happy for you."
it's like, oh,
Mhm.
it's so
I did.
good.
I did watch Crisis on Earth X not that long ago. That shit holds up as a
Oh,
really
dude.
good time in terms of schlock.
I almost, like-
and just like we don't give a shit how stupid this is. We're leaning into
The,
everything.
the thing is, it also has one of the most heart wrenching scenes in the Legends part with
Oh
Stein.
yeah. Who
It's
who
just
like
like-
I thought like, okay, he got shot once. Oh, he got shot twice. Oh, he got shot 3 times. I'm like, oh no.
No, he gets
Oh,
shot
yeah.
like at the end of Apocalypse Now or whatever, where he gets just fucking wrecked.
Yeah.
They super kill him. That's
Yeah,
one of the few
the
things
old
that
Jewish
stands
man
out.
They
gets killed
super
by
killed
all
him.
of the Nazis.
They're like, no, he is dead. He is not coming back. There will be no
Well,
No
I
return
Unless
of
it's
this
a puppet.
character.
credit to their direction because like in Legends you're like, oh, his exit's been set up. He's got a wife and now a new kid. He wants to leave to go be with that family. You're like, that's the built-in exit route, and they're like, now he's been shot to death.
No, that's
Yeah.
the built-in tragedy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but I thought it was they bamboozled me.
So a guy,
mean, yeah.
how many times did the professor get shot? Like whatever it was, 4 or 5 times, and yet a little girl in Supergirl has a fucking giant metal railing fall down on here, and somehow her
Oh my fucking
intestines don't
God.
pop out of her rear end. Like
Oh,
Oh
you
my
say that?
I forgot all
all-
about this.
I do want to say, like, I'm gonna try to not turn this into Lou and Connor talk about how good Superman and Lois was.
no, we're not going to
Well,
talk
yeah,
about
that's
that.
I
Yeah,
haven't
let's
seen the
not do
finale
that.
yet, so I can't. Even
Oh
do
my
that yet.
god!
Yeah, I
It's-
haven't.
I would just say it is like that show, like the amount of money they spent, it looks so good, and the story that they go with, I am
Mm.
kind of flabbergasted with the angle
I
they took.
can't believe that this is a mild spoiler for YouTube, but like it's
Eh.
John Henry Irons is in that show, and I'm not gonna say what they do with him, but like he is.
I already know.
Yeah, okay. Considering the last time Steel was on screen, I'm surprised at how well they pulled this off. That's all I'm
and that
gonna
dude
say
is
about that.
that dude is good, but what's hilarious is because Diggle shows up in an episode, and like you have all these guys, and you're watching them announce the episodes, and then I don't know the actor's name, is like 2.5 feet taller than everybody else in the
Oh
show.
God, he's
Diggle.
gigantic.
Is Diggle wearing his helmet that he wouldn't be able to see
No,
in the
he's-
dark at all?
the
with?
lights
yeah.
are on the inside of his helmet.
Yeah, he's just in his Argus gear, and then he's immediately like, "What the shit?" To like Lane, like you can't fucking do this. You're an asshole. He has a great scene, but it's just like, oh, all these guys who look badass. He's 5 inches taller than Superman.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know.
I mean,
No,
that's how you
think
should do that. Yeah.
I really think that after hearing that HBO like basically co-finance that is that they might have been looking at what like this. I think the people on HBO end of things look at DC and go like, huh, potential, and Warner Bros is like, the fuck do you mean?
It's almost
Like,
like
no,
the
I thought
people
we were gonna
in
sell this to
charge know
Marvel.
what they have.
Yeah.
And I think HBO was looking at what CW was doing and like, wow, this could be. What did you guys do to it? Oh, you broke it. Like,
I mean,
it's
they
a
eventually
built-in-
broke it.
Yeah. Well, certain people eventually broke it, or lack
Yeah.
of certain people broke it,
Mhm.
because of them being, as Arlen so wonderfully put it, sex pests.
Mhm.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like HBO has seen this and it's like, wait, there's already a built-in audience. There's already built-in story essentially. If we just give them a little more money, we can make a ton of
Right.
money putting this stuff out. And
Yeah.
that's what I think the real nuts and bolts is. It's that
Oh.
it's not that they really care about DC stuff, but they know how to use it to make money better.
yeah, that's what
Well,
they
yeah,
recognize
yeah.
the potential of the entire franchise. Essentially, they're just like, huh, this is useful,
Yeah.
and you guys are fucking with it.
Well,
Speak
yes.
up.
Also, and to what I was saying a little bit ago, also just not disregarding the value of any of it and acting like it's just another thing was a big
Yep.
part of it, I think.
Yep.
Mhm.
Like knowing that there is this legacy that you kind of have to care about just a teensy bit is kind of important. And it seems like they give a shit now.
Well,
I-
HBO Max also were the people who were pushing for the Snyder Cut to happen too. They were like, no, give us this fucking thing that's like they're like, what? From my understanding,
Yeah.
their end of things were like, you mean it's basically shot already? It's mostly done, and he needs a little bit of time to put it together and maybe film a few things. Why the fuck
Mhm.
not? Like, we need shit.
Oh well, I mean, didn't they put like 20 million into that? Like it wasn't
75.
75. All right, so it wasn't quite as finished as that might all be, but I mean, they definitely saw there was value in doing that.
No,
Yeah.
and I say that as someone I liked the Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. Like
I'm gonna get the fucking Blu-ray. That's
I ain't going that far.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
know
also
about
done
that.
with that.
give
side
it
of
to
physical media.
me.
Yeah, I'm.
If I'm
No
buying
thanks.
physical media, it's
No thanks.
Omnibuy, thanks to Eric.
No,
and
here's the
I'm
thing.
gonna
I
be
You're
also
welcome.
I want to see that movie in Blu-ray. Like I want to see it in the highest quality
Sure.
image possible. So
Right. I kind of understand that, but like I don't know. I'll spend that money on the fuck, how am I forgetting the name of this fucking movie?
Don't Breathe 2.
The
No,
the
close,
pacifier,
close.
the Vin
Not
Diesel comedy classic.
not Your Next, the one after Your Next. Fucking
Oh,
You're on deck.
Oh, The Stranger.
yeah, or what? Or, yeah, whatever it's called. That one
Oh,
has
the-
a fucking Blu-ray that's coming out.
Guest.
Yeah. Oh, it's The
The
Guest.
Guest,
Yeah, you're right.
and I bought that last night. It's like $80 because of whatever, but I was like,
Jesus.
fuck it, I don't care. I will spend it.
Man, the Guest fucking Dan. That was me discovering Dan Stevens properly. I was like, holy shit, this guy's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't
Dan
see it
Stevens.
till
I actually don't even know what
after
that
the
is.
fact.
The Guest,
Mm.
holy shit, dude. The Guest is the okay. So it's the people who did You're Next. And it's this basically this military
The
dude
Goldberg
comes home
documentary.
and no, the excellent slasher.
Well,
film.
Lou, have you seen Your
sorry.
Next? I
No.
just want to.
I
Okay,
Yeah, Your
you-
Next is really good.
Oof,
Yes.
man.
that's a
You're
that's
Next.
like a teenage like slasher ish movie.
No,
right?
it's a
No.
family reunion that gets attacked with like booby traps and like crossbows and like it's a home invasion movie. But then like as soon as like
Okay, I
As soon as
definitely
the
have
ho-
not seen this.
as soon as the home invaders get inside the house, they don't realize they're contending with some girl who's been trained with like extreme survival skills, who starts to then kick the shit out of
Yes.
them. Like
Yeah.
it's fucking.
There's an
awesome.
There's an Australian girl who has like almost SAS level training who
Okay,
just
so it's one
murders
of those,
them all.
rape revenge movie without the rape
Yes.
kind of
No,
thing.
and, like,
Okay.
and, yeah,
Rape
and, like,
doesn't even come up. She
yeah,
just
it's-
kills
But
them.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like in that genre of film.
Well, it's
It
worse
is
because like there's
certainly-
no
yeah.
there's no fall. She's like, you're in the house. I'm gonna fuck you up. Like,
Yeah,
that's
Yes.
basically how it
Exactly.
goes.
It's the only
Mm.
reason she's trying to kill these people is because they've killed people who are. Are they even members of her family? I thought they were
No,
members
no,
of her
she's a-
boyfriend or husband's family.
She's
So
an
basically,
outside.
they
Yeah.
broke into a house and Hannah was like, "No, you beat people.
Yeah.
You are bad people." And
Yeah,
Hannah killed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
for lack of
chose
a better
the
term.
wrong house. Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Things,
and then,
things don't go according to plan.
But the
guest,
guest also has a similar turn at one point where, yeah,
the
yeah.
guest is about a this very like almost alienly likable guy comes home from the military and he's like, "Hi, I know I'm a friend of your son's. He was killed in combat. I just wanted to come pay
Mhm.
respects to you. I'm also conveniently homeless, wink, and I don't have a place to
Mhm.
stay." And he basically just charms his way into his family's house.
Yeah.
It's
But then
it's
turns
like
out-
if Rambo didn't have the dumb cop
Yeah.
character.
But then it turns out
who-
like he's
yeah.
part
And
of a
was a sociopath.
Yeah, he's
Right.
part of a
Mm.
top secret, like super top secret government assassin program, and he
He's
doesn't know how to-
born,
and
basically.
he yes, but
Yeah.
he's born 24/7, and basically looks at everyone
Mhm.
around him as if they're targets. And like within a very short time span, snaps back into everybody's got to die.
Mhm.
You're
That
dealing with
and
you're dealing with a slasher.
and
villain
remember,
who
Lou,
is an
it's- yeah.
assassin.
It's
That-
Dan Stevens playing this, which and yeah,
I will say, as
Yeah.
somebody who, I won't say forced, but watched all of Downton Abbey, it is wild to think of that guy after seeing Legion was like,
And the
Right.
yeah, like as somebody, I think like I have the most watching because like he was in like Force, which is not a terrible show. It is not a show I would say enjoyed, but well acted, well directed, and written. And then watching him in Beauty and the Beast, and then watching Legion, it's interesting to think of him in a movie like that. He has wild range.
he does. He has a lot of range. I'm worried
kinda
about
wanna-
him.
I
though.
want to see him in bigger stuff,
Yeah,
and I think he
same.
deserves it.
What are you talking
'Cause,
about? He was
um,
Beast in Beauty and the Beast.
I'm really
I don't hate
worried that
movie.
he's like getting into a type cast situation of
Well,
playing like
I
shitty boyfriend. I'm
See,
real
here's the
worried
thing.
that that's
I
his
I
role.
I wonder how much money he made from Downton Abbey.
Maybe
That's a good
lot.
point.
He
Yeah.
And
made a
I
lot.
think they're doing another thing that's a prequel, and like
Hmm.
I don't know if he's involved in it, but like
Oh, is
I'm
it called
sad.
Upton Abbey?
God damn you.
they're
Upton Abbey.
but like he is a great actor, and I'm like thinking I love what he did in Legion. I'm like, what
Mhm.
other big? I'm like, he's so good. I want him to be other comic book characters. I'm like, I
Yeah,
have no idea what he
absolutely.
could be.
I mean, it feels inevitable that he's gonna be in that Alien show at some point,
Yeah.
and a future
Yeah.
season of Fargo, probably.
Yes.
Probably.
Not-
Oh my god. Oh god, I didn't even think about that. But yeah,
I think,
him on
I
Fargo
think
would be
Noah's
perfect.
waiting.
He's
He's like,
he's
I need the right role.
he's atop my short list for Eobard Thawne too. Like he's
Oh,
Ooh,
absolutely.
he would be fantastic.
he's up there with Matthew McConaughey.
yeah.
I really need that to happen
Yeah.
too. I still need
Well,
that.
I
cool.
think his
In like 12
physicality-
years, when they relaunch the entire DC universe for Warner Brothers, they can do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't care if I don't care if they make a new show and he's Reverse Flash.
God.
Do it. Why not?
Noah Hawley's
it.
Flash. Oh my god.
Oh, Connor, don't
You
give
know,
me hope.
you know what
Don't put
character?
Wolverine-
You know what character I would really love him as is Doom. I think he'd be a really
Oh.
fun Doom because he
Yeah,
can
why
pull
my
out
brain
that.
goes- Why did my brain go to Cyclops for some reason too?
I think he's because he's a
um,
pretty boy. That's why.
he is pretty enough, but he has enough of an edge to make that work.
Yeah,
Again,
I
I
think he
worry
would
about
be
the
good.
whole he only plays shitty boyfriends thing.
Yeah.
I won't go down the list of shitty boyfriends he's
I think
played,
that
but if you look at the list, it's pretty substantial how many times he's played
Yeah.
shitty boyfriend in a thing. The Rental movie from last year. You think it's not going to be shitty boyfriend? He plays shitty boyfriend again. So
I see, like-
shitty boyfriend.
to
yeah.
me, like in like the future, and I know we're like really jumping over like if we were to bring the FF and Doom in, like I want someone his range to play.
Yeah.
That character is so, and I think personally they nailed it on Kang. Like I am so hyped.
Yeah.
I think
I'd-
he would be an equal kind of level guy to play like that.
I think those castings are on the same tier in terms of
Yes.
the versatility of the actors and how well they can play not relatable, but like you can see where they're coming from. I think that's the only
Yeah.
reason Legion works is because if any other actor had been in that role, he either would have been too likable or he
Yep.
would have been too unlikable once the flip happens.
Yep.
And season 3 would have been unwatchable because it's like, well, fuck this guy now.
And I will say, like,
Yeah.
and this is again, so his character role on Downton Abbey is that he's like a cousin that gets brought in, but he's the next closest heir. And he's actually the kind of not aristocrat. He's a doctor. And he's kind of like taken aback by the aristocracy of it all.
By the weirdness of all of them.
Yeah, so he's like, the fuck is all this?
Like,
Oh,
and
so
he-
are you talking about
and he-
the very special episode where the queen turned into her snake form and ate the soul of a child?
They had an episode with the queen. That was after he had left. But I do
But-
like he
But there was no
pretty-
snake people or children.
Yeah,
eating.
they like wanted to have him on. They literally spent seasons setting up like a relationship. He gets married. The first episode next season is them killing him off because he was like, "Yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to go do other shit." And I think he makes Legion the next year, and they're just like the opening of the next season is him dying in a car crash because he was like, "Fuck y'all, I'm out."
See, and making a choice like that makes me think he wouldn't want to be attached to something like the MCU. I think he
but
likes his freedom too much.
Yeah, but those checks are nice.
I believe it, but I mean, I still think, and I'm basing this just on the few things I've seen him in. I feel like it's something that he likes to have the ability to jump around to different things.
I think if they
I think he
did-
would do it if he knew he had a definitive like we're gonna use you here, 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 and here, and then that is you being done for the conceivable future. I think he'd be
Yeah.
like, oh,
I think
And
it's more, to me, it's more like if they were like, this is a character where that you can play with. I think that is how you would get him.
Yeah,
Like they,
but I just Doom is such a big character, and he would be needed in a lot of stuff. I think if they're going to have Doom come in, like I think Marvel knows like how big of a treasure chest of toys they're sitting on with having a Fantastic
well,
Four and all that
Eric,
stuff.
can I say counter?
Oh,
What if he's Mephisto?
I don't want Mephisto at this point. I don't
I don't
want
wanna see-
Mephisto.
I don't want to see Mephisto ever again at this point.
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
I
I don't even
Yeah.
want a hint
No.
of him.
At this
I
point,
don't-
I
yeah.
think it's funnier if it's never Mephisto, but it's always teased to be
Exactly.
Mephisto.
Well, I would love a Feige
Feige's
Eichmann,
Mephisto.
or what's the other guy's name who we hate? If he bucked it again and he chose something that is almost Mephisto as a replacement for Mephisto, the way that he's been
Nightmare?
doing lately. Sure,
I don't even
name a
remember.
character. Name a devil character, because in the
Belasco.
MCU and in DC,
Oh.
there's like 15 devils, right?
I
Or-
would,
Yeah.
I would honestly love to see Belasco in the MCU, but that's an X-Men mostly character.
Exactly, and it would have to be the same actor who plays Nightcrawler because in Earth X. Anyways, did everybody see the Matrix trailer?
Oh
and
my
you're
God.
wrong, it's
Woo!
Colossus.
Woo!
But yes, Matrix trailer.
Oh my
I'm-
god, I watched the trailer like 6 times.
Speaking of Grant Morrison,
Exactly, I was trying to get back to that segue you tried to.
that was an
promote,
hour and
but-
a half ago.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I'm just curious at this point. Like, I don't know if I'm excited that there's no
That's the
Matrix,
best. That's the best word. Sure
but
is.
I'm super curious about what
How-
this is going
how
to
is
be.
Here's the
Alien-
thing though, I'm gonna say this
Mhm.
though. I'm gonna say this though. That is the best trailer they could have come up with to get this series like back in the interest of the public, because like
Mhm.
it is
Mhm.
superbly edited. The music choice is fucking inspired, and just the way it plays out, like they don't give you enough information, and like the shit you see, you're like, what the fuck is happening? And then like
Yeah.
the actions, like it's not retreading. Like we're not seeing the fucking bullet dodge for the 9,000th time. Like we're seeing someone do like
right.
portrait over cars, like some like a little bit of Inception hallway bending and like other weird looking shit. I'm like, okay, what do you got going here? Like it all looks super interesting, and I want to see it so badly now.
I mean,
Well, oh, go ahead, Arlen.
yeah. Well, I was gonna just jumping off that. What I'm excited about most is it didn't feel to me like it got caught up in a lot of the nostalgia trailer stuff that we've had for the last few years.
Not
like
in the slightest.
No.
there wasn't the slow piano cover.
Yep.
Of pick your 70s, 80s song.
Right, or of the Matrix theme.
No,
Um,
sorry, real quick with the music choice. Like they went the exact opposite everyone else has done, and they used the original music and singer, and then just altered the music around it some. So it's the song you're familiar with, but it's changed. And
Yeah.
I wonder if that's just a bigger metaphor for what the movie is going to be. Anyways, back to what you're going to say.
Well, yeah, and I mean, jumping back off of what you just said, like it goes with the thing that I've said in many of the chats, which is these movies, especially the last two, lean into the Buddhist stuff and Buddhist philosophy a lot. And this still feels like it's keeping that aspect, which is what makes those last two movies even vaguely interesting.
Mhm.
And yeah, like all that stuff is there, but I like that I still don't know what's going on in this movie. I have theories and I have ideas about where they could be going, but I don't actually know.
That's what I loved about it, because I'm like, all right, we have Keanu, who looks like Keanu and is some otherworldly being that doesn't age and only gets better looking.
And then Carrie-Anne Moss is like still fucking gorgeous. Like what the fuck?
Yeah, Carrie-Anne Moss is his equal opposite, like also never aging. Like, it's like, wait, what show was I in with some guy that like had a glowy fist? We're not talking about that.
I love that that's the show that she would think of, not the one that got Emmy nominations.
Yeah, not the one she was actually on. Yeah.
No, that one. And it's just like, I'm like, how are they gonna, like, is this just like another iteration? I'm like, they had to restart it for some reason. Like all in my mind is like thinking of all the things from watching it. Because I'm trying to remember, like, as our ages, I guess me and Connor were probably like in middle and high school when those movies came out.
The last
Hmm.
one came out in 2003, and I can tell you that because
We
like,
were sophomores, I think.
we were sophomores, and like, here's how I saw that movie: a fucking bootleg VHS was passed around my high school.
Oh,
So we saw an old
Fucking
cam
nerd.
version. Oh yeah, like I saw that movie like I think a week before it actually came out.
I
and-
saw it.
Oh.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
jealous. Like I definitely saw it in the
Wow.
theaters.
yeah,
Yeah,
I saw
this
it
is-
at home.
That's kind of the end of that, because after that is when the only way that that happens is through like torrents and shit. Like
Yeah,
the
I can
jump
tell
is
you,
like
I have
Wolverine Origins, where you get like people with a torrent of the unfinished version, where like Deadpool has no swords and
I
the
have
claws
one
are
movie
just-
I've seen like
this
that.
was a finished film, but it was a cam bootleg. So like you're
Yeah.
watching a cam on a on
Oh.
a VHS, on a
On a
VCR, on your
VHS.
tube TV, and like you've seen the movie, but there's some things you might not have made out
See-
specifically. But like, yeah, no, I did see it eventually on DVD. I was like, wow, this is
Yeah.
Arlen, what you're
movie.
talking about, I've seen one movie that way, and I don't know how I had this connection. I saw TMNT 3 before it came out in theaters because
Ugh.
I knew
Ah.
someone whose dad was a producer and had a totally different
His uncle
name.
worked at Nintendo.
The
See, that's extra fascinating because that's a different era before like even CG
that was
and
like
stuff.
94, 95, yeah.
well,
Yeah.
the only to add to what Lou's saying, like when I was going to Mansfield, the one guy that I was buddies with, he was from New York, and he would pick up VHS copies of movies that were still in the theater at the time, and it would be the ones where people were recording it at the theater, so you'd see people getting up in front of you and all that. But the only time I ever did that was I saw the second Crow movie that way.
Wow.
And,
Wow,
that
Angels?
movie's already dark as shit to begin with.
Yeah,
Right. How could you see anything?
See, this
Did you
reminds me.
actually see that movie?
yeah,
When I was
did a
in
second
middle
time though.
school, we would go to the Route 18 flea market, and I would get like third gen dubbed like subs of DBZ as they were coming out in Japan.
Oh,
And you would
my.
buy,
Like 4 layers of subtitles and some really
Yes.
bad dubbing.
you would buy four VHS tapes, which had like 4 episodes each, or a movie. It was 4 for $25.
That
And I would
that-
take my money that I would get. My grandma would give me every week $20, and I would talk the guy down to giving it to me 4 for $20, and I would get 4 VHSs every weekend. This place doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
And that guy is probably
was
dead.
made this guy made so
Still in
much
jail.
money off of me. But
Yeah.
hey, I saw the Boo Saga like 2 years before it was on Toonami.
Wow.
Yeah, my
That,
only
uh,
context was seeing stuff
that's
on the
some
internet.
cred.
But for the Matrix,
Mm.
there's a moment in that trailer where like the lyrics are talking about the and it slams over to like Trinity like fucking people up, and then it cuts that one shot where like she's being splintered into 5 different copies of herself. I'm like,
yeah,
what?
she's
happening
playing
in
the
this?
exam.
Yeah,
telling
she's
me,
like
"My
Kagebushi no
Yeah.
Jutsu.
Mm.
Well, the theory that I've been loosely working on, watching the trailer a few times, is mostly based from that last scene, and I kind of went backwards from there, where the guy's like, "Yeah, who would have thought you'd back to where you were, the Matrix." I'm wondering if in this version of the Matrix that Keanu is in, he's been convinced he was an actor that was in popular films that were the Matrix, because there's a point in the trailer where you can see a
They're
scene
watching
from
on
the first
screen.
Matrix.
Yeah.
That
And
would
I'm
be
wondering
like
if that
that.
guy at the end is like his agent.
Yeah.
I'm-
Yeah.
Like the wordplay there, like the guy at the end is his agent.
Right.
shit.
Yes.
So-
I mean, yeah, that's something that I've been. A lot of people have brought that up, and I think that's interesting.
The only
I hadn't
thing
heard
I
that
think of
specific aspect though, but yeah.
would be, I think, the more obvious is that like the Neo we knew in the first 3 restarted the Matrix, and he will be our villain for this trilogy.
I mean, I could see
I
it.
didn't think
I
this
feel
was
like-
supposed to be a new trilogy. I think this
I
was
don't
a
think it
one-off.
is. I
I
think
think
it's
he signed up for 3 films.
they might have. I think if anything, it's more of just like a
Let's
just
clean
a
up.
reset.
Let's clean
Yeah,
up our mess from the last ones.
I don't know if they think of it that way, but just like this is how we bring it back, and if they
Yeah.
want to do more, they can.
There
But if
is
not,
an-
this is a new movie.
There is an interesting aspect of this, and I wonder if it'll play into the films. I wonder if the Wachowskis, how many years later, going through what they've gone through in their transitions, will
Mhm.
fall into the script. And I actually kind of hope
It's
it
just
does.
Lana. It's just one of them now.
Well, yeah, it's only one of them because the other
Yeah.
one, it's
Didn't want to
She-
be involved with it.
yeah,
I
and,
didn't
and,
think.
I thought it was.
and
I
they
thought
went
it
into
was both.
detail about it having to do with like family stuff, and I
Mhm.
kind of got.
Okay, I missed
Yeah.
thought about like okay, so there's only one of them, but still, like as a concept,
No, I
even
think
though
you're
it's, like,
absolutely correct. I think
it
that's
would
going to play
be
into it. Yeah.
an interesting like thought like of, and I hope it does. As someone who's like, I'm a teacher, and I have a couple of students who are, and like we've talked about stuff, and I have family who are. It's like it would be really interesting because they're not the biggest names, but maybe the coolest names, if that makes sense.
I don't know. I would argue that they are the biggest
Yeah.
names of people who went male to female transition.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
there's
say
one
that as
person
well.
there's one person name wise is above them, but they suck.
Well,
well,
Paige,
Jenner.
Page.
well, yeah.
No,
I think
Jenner's
in
Paige.
terms of yeah, that's true.
yeah, Peach is the next one probably.
But Paige is female to male. That's I think
Yeah.
that's the big thing. That's what Eric
Yeah.
is. Yeah, like
Yeah, Jenner's
I think-
the top one.
Yeah, but Jenna
it's
doesn't
not a
matter
good-
because she is more
She
just a
sucks.
celebrity because of who she was associated with.
Yeah,
And
No,
she
no,
I
rode
agree- I
that.
agree with you. But like, I
Mhm.
The
think
Wachowskis went and did this like without a whole lot of people knowing initially. Like there was
no,
talk.
it was a big story when it kind of finally leaked
No,
out.
the first sister who made the transition, yes, because there had been talk, and I mean
There
this
have
was
been
in
rumors for years.
this
for
was
like a
in the
while.
late 90s and early 2000s, so people were still kind of like, oh, I don't know, that's weird, blah blah. And
Mhm.
then when Lena made the change, it was just like, okay. Like
Mhm.
it wasn't that one kind of hit me out of nowhere because I didn't know that was also going. I didn't know that was happening as well. I mean, whatever, good on them. They're happy. That's awesome.
Right.
But it just that's the one that I was just like, oh, okay. I didn't realize that the other sister has also transitioned over. So
Well,
I
it was
think, go ahead, Arlen.
yeah. It was such a surprise that I thought that the people who published it had gotten it wrong.
Yeah, same.
But they
I-
mixed it up, yeah.
I thought that they had just like reported a thing that was known. I didn't. I was
Yeah.
like, wait, this is you're just reporting, but I didn't realize that they had both. Yeah,
Yeah.
And one of them was against their will revealed. It wasn't something that
First
they wanted
one, I believe.
to know.
Yeah.
That was
yeah.
like a whole thing, if I remember. I don't even remember their name. I'm just saying, like, I don't remember their
Yeah.
name before or after. They're just the Wachowskis to me. So,
Yeah.
like, but I do remember that first one was the one where, like, a lot of the controversy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean, that was
yeah.
also based on some of the people that they were associated with. Like there was a known transgender porn star, if I remember correctly. I can't remember the actor's name. That
I only
uh,
know, like,
Buck
two.
Angel?
So,
yes,
I was
it
just saying it's Buck
Yes.
Angel or it's,
Yep,
like,
it was Buck
the other
Angel.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because wasn't not Lena, but her sister's. What was it? Her
Who is the I'll just
fiance
say
or wife or
controversial
something like
figure.
that. I don't know, but there was some sort of controversy with Buck Angel. But
Buck Angel's
regardless,
controversial because they use different language when they talk about stuff. Because they're an older person.
Yeah, Buck refers to it differently. This is all covered in the Lindsay Ellis mask
Yes.
off.
Yes.
Actually,
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Um,
Lindsay Ellis
yeah.
and what's the other person?
Natalie,
ContraPoints.
Natalie Wynn.
Yes.
yeah,
Mm.
ContraPoints, Natalie Wynn, yes.
God, I love
Yeah,
ContraPoints.
but
Yeah.
regardless,
Yeah, they
back
both
to
cover it.
back to the
Yeah.
bigger point is I think the Wachowskis are the biggest
Yes.
transgender like pair directing pair. Not that there's
Yes.
many, but
Oh,
but
yeah.
yeah,
Right.
in Hollywood.
Not even just in terms
about-
of them, but like their impact, like what they
Exactly.
actually mean
Yeah,
and what their
I was gonna say, like,
significance
for
is.
for the,
Creatives.
for that section of the of the population, like how fucking cool is it? Like someone who has transitioned got to make a fourth movie in a huge franchise without
Mhm.
seemingly any public boil over or any serious,
Right.
crazy, unnecessary backlash.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So, and
Right,
that's
and
awesome. I
yeah.
feel like that's awesome that we're at a point where it can just happen and no one's like,
Right.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
they can just be the person that they are and
yeah,
make it
it's
instead of
fucking
it.
great.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a lot of, if you look at those films, it's like, oh, it's like about like you are in the Matrix who you think you are. Like there is a lot of things you can kind of pick apart where you're like, oh,
Right.
It's a lot about
there's something
it's a
there.
lot about your identity and like how
Yes,
you
I
perceive
think
your
some of
identity
that.
and like what you want your
Yeah.
identity to be and like transcending it in some cases.
Mhm.
But
Mixed up with all the stuff they got from Morrison and other creators.
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, but there's some stuff that really plays differently, like
Which,
the
and then I have not watched, but like I feel like I've heard that there's a lot in Sense8 about that stuff. But I
well, that stuff is even more explicit because they have actors who are trans in Sense8
Yeah.
and things like that. But there are lines like the Oracle's line, you don't ask whether you're in love, you just know, or something along those
Mhm.
lines. Like that moment plays a little bit differently now.
I do want to talk about some of the stuff that we saw in the trailer though, because like
Hmm.
that dude is Morpheus apparently.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
He is.
the worst kept secret ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because the early versions of the rumors that I remember from way back when we were first starting this show was that it was going to be Michael B. Jordan playing like a young Morpheus at some point.
I think
That
I heard
morphed.
that as well.
Yeah, and that morphed into Mateen the second, playing some version of Morpheus in this.
And that's one of my biggest curiosities going into it is like, all right, you have 3 canonically, quote unquote, dead characters who are all coming back, one's with a new face. Like, I need to know
Morpheus
what you're doing
wasn't
here.
dead.
Morpheus
So, well,
Morpheus
then
was
that's-
still alive.
Here's the thing, Arlen.
Yeah.
Here's the weird thing about the Matrix. The Matrix Online was, as it was running,
God.
considered official canon to the Matrix series, and Morpheus died in that.
So much so that the Wachowskis endorsed it.
Yes.
That actually helped
I
in
would
some of the
say-
writing.
Well, and I think it works in the canon because what we learn in the second, which one has the architect? The second one
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
is that like it's repeated. So to me, in
Yeah.
my mind, as a viewer, that means these specific people are constantly brought back.
Yeah.
And I
I
would
don't-
assume Morpheus is one of those characters. To
Right.
me, Trinity is the aberration. So to me, Trinity coming back is the bigger question. So that leads to me to think more that like it is
Uh-huh.
Neo Prime, I will say, like our Neo from the first 3 movies, is the one doing this because he was the one who would want to bring Trinity back. The system would not want Trinity.
I'm glad that you brought this up because I've been thinking about this. I don't think it is a new cycle. In strictly in the
original
sense
series
that
sense, yes.
yeah, I don't think it is another cycle because I think you just cast another actor and then you have Keanu show up in a cameo.
It's just that would be a full reboot.
Yes, my theory, and I went through this in one of the other chats, is that I think that is our Neo from the first movie.
Yeah.
I think somehow the machine salvaged Trinity's brain. I don't know exactly how, but they might have. And if they really do continue to have the events of the Matrix Online canon, then maybe that as well. But it might be Lawrence Fishburne, who's on the outside going into the
Fishburne.
Matrix.
Fishburne.
Fishburne.
Yes,
Fish.
Fishburne, an old bit
The
returned.
original Aquaman.
But I think my big theory is that when there is no longer a Matrix, or when the Matrix is sort of in a state of underuse or lower use, because they probably came to some sort of, I guess, pact.
Yes. The end of the third one they kind of did.
Yeah,
Yes, that's
and
the whole thing.
I assume that there were
Pact-
negotiations at some point, like machines signing pieces of paper, I guess. I don't know what that would entail.
With their squid arms.
Well-
yes, they're like they're like signing little things, and yes,
to
we
go
agree
to
to
the end
this.
of it is like he
Well, let
sacrificed-
Arlen finish his thought first,
Yeah,
please.
yeah. I have a full
Sorry,
theory
sorry.
here. So, what do they do with all those programs that they made that we know are sentient, and are extremely powerful and can cause a lot of problems in the real world because of how powerful they are, and they have nothing else to do now. They are just programs that have control over the Matrix in many different ways. You put them in the Matrix and you make them think that they're not programmed. So that's sort of my theory.
Oh, I
Is
like
we're seeing the new sort of retooled Matrix that is containing programs, but you also have this exact copy that you've made of Neo's brain and presumably Trinity's brain. Do you just put them in their own Matrix, or do you put them in the Matrix that you've built for all these programs? I think that could be the direction that they're going with it.
that
but I
would
don't
be.
know.
I
a
want to. Well, there's
Matrix
also
where
the.
the
I want
people are
to talk about the
machines.
whole medication
Mhm.
thing too. Like, what if they're medicating, quote unquote, medicating everybody, human
Mhm.
programs, everything into like such a state
Yeah.
of docile, like being so docile, like there's never interruption.
Yeah,
But they're like it's almost like
exactly.
equilibrium, where if one person goes off that medication for a short period of time, everything could fucking collapse.
Well, the
Yeah,
thing is,
exactly.
what we learn in the first 3 movies is like the planet itself is so fucked that
Mhm.
at the end we never really see a resolution of what they do for the actual physical real life planet, because that cloud is still there,
You're right.
which I think they
Yeah.
had said that they could have cleared, but they just choose not to for reasons. The
I
machines.
mean, again, presumably, if they do come to a pact and they decide on details of how that happens and how they would presumably work together to fix things, maybe that is part of it. What if? I mean, again, real big. What if here? What if Morpheus is the bad guy in this movie because he sees that there's a greater good thing here that they should keep programs
Well,
under?
that's
Or what if he's the bad guy as he is the one, again, as the human rebel against the system where our original Neo kind of set up to finally fix things, but as somebody
Mhm.
in the slow prod, because if it was a
Right.
slow progression and he still comes up again in the system,
Yeah.
he's the rebel in it still.
I could see that. He gets into this new Matrix and he realizes these programs are sentient, and there's all kinds of conclusions he could come to there that are very modern and have to do with our current
Well,
society.
Yeah,
I'm
So-
curious
I would love
how far into the future of this universe this movie is supposed to be taking place.
Sure.
Because that's going to have a lot of bearing, I think, too, on what any of these rebel characters like Morpheus and whatnot. Because it could be that yes, he's calling himself Morpheus, but he's only
Right.
doing that out of respect for this person from legend, from
Yeah.
however many, potentially hundreds of years. And
Sure.
because Neo has had his mind completely put into the Matrix itself, they're trying to free that aspect of programming because that could free mankind, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. There's a
Could
lot
be.
of different things at play here that's what makes me intensely curious about this movie.
Yeah. They've
So
set up the
Neo's
lore in a way
Tron.
where
Kind of.
Yes.
Kind of.
if you want to very simplify it, but yeah, like pretty close. Like
That's actually here's the thing.
that's the
The more we
thing.
talk about this, the more it sounded like. I was like, wait a minute, this all is like
Oh well, there's definitely
Well,
some
becoming very Tron
'Cause
like.
what
Tron
Eric-
2 copied a lot from The Matrix as well. Like, they're two series that are
100%.
indelibly linked to each other. Like,
Yeah.
you could argue that Tron is just the reverse of The Matrix. They get into the Tron world, and it's all apocalyptic and dark. Yeah.
Honestly, what
Yeah.
Eric made me think of is, what if this whole movie is that moment between Neo defeating Smith and the system figuring out what to do with Neo after Smith?
Yeah, I don't know.
With
Because
everything.
I mean, at the very end of the third Matrix movie, to bring up Trinity again, like that was the thing that screwed up that cycle.
Yeah,
is
but we
because-
know that in the second one is her introduction changed him.
Mhm. Yeah, and it went from him trying to save humanity to him trying to save her, and that was the change that needed to happen to make him successful. So yeah,
Love
I
is
don't
more important than society.
fucking punch me in the balls.
I mean,
Anyways.
Christopher
If
Nolan
that's
likes
what
that as
if
a
that's what you're
concept.
into,
So
that's part of love.
Mhm.
Well,
But
I think that's supposed to be like the ultimate test of
whatever.
character. Like, if you can commit yourself to save this one person that you care about so much, then maybe you do have what it takes to save, a planet full of them.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
It's a
Yeah,
it's a compassion test.
and we don't know for sure that Neo was even actually dead at the end of the movie. Like, yes,
Yeah.
that he's lying there and they're
He's-
bringing him off, but
he's
it-
virtually crucified in many ways.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
You could be
Eric, I
he
wish
could be
you
basically
said they pulled him off because that
he
would
could-
be funny. But
he could be brain dead essentially, but like that's
exactly.
if
Or
you're in
they
that kind of a
just-
world, like you can bring him back.
Mhm.
He's become one with the system.
Well, and something else,
Yeah.
Arlen, you might have heard about this, but apparently Lena Wachowski has said like she found a new way of filming action that thinks it's going to revolutionize things as much as they're like
Duct taping iPhones to people.
well, I'm just
No,
trying.
even on, like I mentioned, there was some shots in the trailer that like I couldn't quite put my finger on why, but like it was action imagery that was immediately captivating. I was like, what about this is so fucking cool? I can't
What,
put my
what
finger on.
made that first movie great was that they took stuff from old school, like Hong Kong kung fu movies, like stylized.
Not
and-
even just old school stuff that just America wasn't paying attention to
Yeah.
at the time.
but
Also,
very much from Hong Kong, like that
Yeah.
kind of fight
Well, yeah.
choreography.
Hong
and
Kong
I-
in general. Like John Woo was a thing, but he wasn't as big here as
But he was
is in
like
Hong
he
Kong
was a
still.
guy. Like
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
is
they were
from-
taking stuff from Shaw Brothers.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Wachowskis were very much the best borrowers of people that
Yeah.
existed at that time.
but
you
I
know,
had
good
not
for-
heard. I had not heard the thing Eric had said though about like a new way of doing action. I could that feels like something that you would want to do though. Like I don't think there's a reason to do the Matrix unless you're gonna introduce
Revolution.
something that people haven't seen before.
Well, the whole concept of it. So yeah,
Yeah.
like, that would be fun.
Yeah,
Where
exactly.
they're going to do the whole movie as Hardcore Henry, but it's Neo.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
I
that
still
could be-
haven't
that
seen
could be
Hardcore
it,
Henry
yeah.
because I'm afraid that movie's gonna make me fucking sick.
No, just watch the supercut of Doom.
I've seen Hardcore Henry. That movie's great, actually. I was shocked by just how good it is.
I want to
Um,
see it. I'm afraid of it making me physically ill because of the first person.
I don't think it
perspective.
will.
Okay.
I
Because
mean,
there was some shit in Portal that I played that made me stand up and go.
I've never
So,
had.
it might be different in a theater, but I never had a moment where I was like, that really like fucked with me. And I've had those moments. I've been there where I've been like, that's not right. I mean, I've used an Oculus and I've had moments where I was like, I'm going to fall over because that camera adjusted too quickly.
Yeah,
I
there's
feel
some
like a
things. There's some
headset
things
is
in
different.
Cloverfield that fucked me up the second or third time I went and saw it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Cloverfield's a whole discussion we could have as a separate podcast.
Yes.
Because I hate that movie.
Oh my
But,
god,
like,
really?
Lou, okay, I think we've had this conversation in one of the chats.
Oh, no,
Lou, when
there's-
did you
there's,
last
like,
watch
there's-
it?
There's 3 movies. Oh, I watched it in the theater. That's the only time. I will never give it a
Lou,
chance.
you need to okay, Lou, you need to watch it again. You need to watch it again. Like
I will.
It's
The
a
only
great monster
reason
movie. It
I
really
will,
is.
I will watch it is
Yeah.
because I really like the actor who's the cameraman. He's really funny. I wonder what he did afterwards.
that's TJ Miller,
That's
Lou.
TJ.
That's
Yeah, that would be called the joke I made.
oh, okay. I was like,
That's-
is this a
that's what he was
joke or is he
doing.
serious? Lou, like Lou, it's that movie's
No,
only
no, no.
gotten better with time.
No,
you
no,
get to the
mostly-
credits.
I will tell you, my problems with that movie have nothing to do with the camera. It has to do
Sure.
with them hiring models to act for the most part.
Well, Lou, that's a problem with movies.
Well,
That's
I
just
guess
a problem with
in
film.
being from like the kind of tri-state northeast area of New York, I'm like,
Yeah,
And I literally,
okay,
I pretty much-
okay. That
Lou,
I
you're
can
preaching to
see.
the choir. Okay.
Yeah, that I can see.
Yes.
Because like,
Yeah, but
you
that's
do watch and go
that's
like, who the fuck are these people?
that's still completely unfair
yeah.
because they're supposed to be Manhattanites. So
Yeah,
true.
you know,
They could be from
It's-
anywhere.
I
that's
mean,
a
on
little
that
bit
level,
weird.
it works better now than it did then because, yeah, it's only gotten worse.
Also, like,
on that.
there is something like
Oh.
kind of satisfying about like, because I don't remember liking all this. Like, I don't dislike them, but like, there is something kind of satisfying watching all these like kind of douchey, pretty people get smashed by a fucking monster.
Again,
See,
that's
I'm
only
saying
better
that
now. That only
it-
plays
it-
better
it
right
didn't
now.
happen better. Like they were to me, and I'm remembering this. Like none of the deaths were satisfying.
I
Huh.
disagree with one in particular.
Yeah, the Lizzie Kaplan
Lizzie
death
Kaplan,
is
oh,
like
boom.
Lizzie
Oh.
Kaplan's death is fucking awful. Okay.
It
It's-
is. I will say that is awful, and it's like, how would you describe it? It's not. It's on screen, but silhouetted.
Okay, here's the thing.
Yeah.
It's silhouetted enough, and the audio, like she makes some kind of
Mhm.
awful
Yes.
sound when it happens, and like it's the big splatter against the curtain, and like the thing
Mhm.
is,
yes.
the silhouette is just detailed enough to make your brain go, oh, her chest
Yeah.
inflated, and then she exploded. Like it.
Yeah.
I know. I guess maybe
So good.
maybe I was upset as seeing her because she was in 2 episodes of my favorite TV show. So maybe that's what really hurt me.
Oh,
I mean, I guess,
Lizzie Kaplan's great,
sure.
and in that movie she's
I
incredibly
was-
likable.
I was
Shut
trying
the
to insert a
fuck
joke
up.
because she was in multiple episodes of a certain show.
Shut the fuck up. Don't say it. Don't say it or
I'm
Hal's
not
gonna come
saying
crashing
it.
through the wall.
Oh, I will tell you, he is the character that he hates the most in the series.
Oh my fucking god.
We're not
See,
talking about this anymore.
Here's the thing: I had repressed that show successfully enough to the point where it took me until like just now to figure out what the fuck we were talking about, and I hate you for
I feel
making
like-
me
Also, I
undo all
forgot
of
that
that
she
will-
was
I
in
feel
that
like this-
show.
I will
I
never
forgot
be
that
on
she
the-
was ever in that and that she had like kind
Oh,
of a
she's-
big role.
Yeah, she has a big role in the first season. I feel like I'll never be on Movie Dumpster because I will just constantly make references to Granny Van Dam being on one of the best episodes of that show.
I can't wait for that.
I mean, it's already bled its way into Movie Dumpster enough as it is at this point. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Lou, if you're not gonna rewatch Cloverfield, here's what I want you to do. I want you to look up the end credit song for Cloverfield.
Yes.
Which is a full like recreation of like old Japanese like score songs, and I think there's even lyrics in it. Like
That
you know the
sounds fun.
original Godzilla theme, they do
Yes.
their own version of that, and it's
Honestly,
It's
please
fucking
send that to
amazing.
me because every day in class I'm like, who has a thing that who does anybody want me to play music and no one says anything, and then I just play whatever I want. I
What
will
is it
play that
called?
in my if you send it to me, I will play that in my next class
so
when they're walking in.
funny you mentioned that because like my new hospital has an Alexa, and like
Oh
when
my
I
god.
got here, I was like, I'm waiting to see like I'm kind of feeling out the etiquette, and like as far as I know, there isn't any. Well, I can't. Okay, so like my second day,
Oh.
my head tech looks at this dude Jeremy and goes like, "Yes, play whatever you want." Like the only person I was playing is Jeremy because he tried summoning a demon.
Alexa, play the Wu Tang.
So like, I think it was like yesterday or the day before. It was yesterday. Yesterday was fucking insane. It was so crazy that I was like, Alexa, play Oingo Boingo, and it never stopped playing Oingo Boingo. For 8 hours.
See
You should
that
just say, Alexa, play Old Dirty Bastard.
see,
Like,
that's a
just make
power that
everybody uncomfortable.
people would regret the minute they gave to me because it would be like, Alexa, play John Zorn, Naked City. And like,
Oh,
have you ever seen shit, what is it? It's the movie about the two terrible assholes that are murdering their neighbors. There's a remake that was the exact same thing as the original film.
it's a movie or
Funny
all
Games?
real
It's a
people?
movie. Funny Games, yes. The very
Oh,
I don't know if the American version of it had it, but in the original, is it Danish, German version?
I think it's Danish.
Okay, John Zorn is what's playing over the beginning, and he's an amazing jazz saxophonist, but he also just plays that type of jazz that just sounds like screeching noise, and it's wonderful.
Oh.
And I would just
I
be
know what you're
playing
talking
that,
See,
than just
I've only
torturing people.
I've been softballing him because like I haven't been there long enough to like really hit him with something weird, but like I'm waiting for the day where I'm like, Alexa, play Nitzareb, Kiss kiss, bang, bang, and then just watch the whole room go, what the fuck is this?
Oh, see,
Which,
this
like, by
reminds
their
me-
by real, like, weird standards is pretty tame, but this room full of people I don't know, I can't wait to listen to them be like, is this just metal hitting just being banged against itself? Like, what the fuck is this?
I need
I'm
to
so much-
find. Go ahead.
I was gonna say when I worked at the brewery, there was like a Sonos thing, and literally like all the songs I'm saying, I would play and no one could say anything. Like I would play like Shimmy Shimmy Wah, and then I would like Shimmy Shimmy Wow like by ODB, and like everyone just like, well, we can't say anything, and then I would play like Baby Metal, like super K-pop, like just following the hardest core.
So-
like, East Coast
Leonardo
rap.
just said Alexa played Despacito.
Oh,
So
That's
there was a day, I think it was actually the day before yesterday. I at some point I was like, Alexa, play the Men Without Hats, and she just played 3 versions of the Safety Dance before we're like, all right, this is no longer funny.
I need to find the name of the song. It's from a progressive or prog metal band called Sun
Prog
O. Well, I mean not prog rock per se, but there's an
Eric is
album.
canon now a super prog rock fan. He only
Oh,
has all the
well,
Rush albums.
I do like King Crimson. There was a song they did, and I don't know if it was the singer from Sun O or the singer from this other group they worked with, but to record the song, they had him sing it while he was inside a coffin. Thing
Oh my
is,
god.
they knew he was claustrophobic. Terribly
Oh
claustrophobic.
my god.
That sounds like some Norwegian like fucking bullshit.
It's
I see this as like the guy who was in high school listening to like the most dumb nerdy like it's not even prog metal like what would you call like Blind Guardian that did like the songs a lot like a whole album about like Lord of the Rings but in metal.
Yeah, I like the concept metal. Like,
Concept metal.
yeah.
Concept metal is probably pretty good. Yeah,
Concept
that's a-
metal, like I listen to a lot of concept metal. I've seen, I can't even remember. They did somebody did a whole album on like the Iliad as like a metal album. Like
That's actually a
That-
pretty good choice because the Iliad is fucking crazy.
I have to find like what this band is, but it's just like so much like Steve Satriani kind of style of like guitar solos.
my.
Like it's that weird like prog speed metal like studio like solos. Oh my god.
I'm reading this thing. Wow.
Yeah.
The band supposedly went so far to lock the claustrophobic Malefic in a casket to record the vocals on Bathory Airsabet.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah. So there's a whole world of horribly weird shit that you could unleash upon these people. I mean, fuck, you could ask like to play the Red House Painters or God, I forget who it is.
Dude, here's the I know it's I put on Nick Cave the other day and someone
Oh.
gave me an eyebrow. I was like, oh fuck you.
Oh,
you
I-
should have
I
just
found
told
the
it
band.
play murder ballads. Like
So
Yeah.
the band's
that's it.
name was
Yeah.
Symphony X.
Connor, I
something
thought
like
of one that is very us. David Lynch's Clown album.
Yes.
Oh my god, wait,
Oh.
what is that fucking song I showed you where it's like it's a collaboration between Lynch and some band, but like it's just Lynch telling this story about like the fire is coming,
Yeah.
but his face has emerged through a fucking teddy bear and he's talking to other
that-
kids dressed as teddy bears.
Well, have you ever listened to what's his name that played Sauron?
Christopher Lee.
Oh,
Christopher Lee's
Christopher,
metal
the
album?
Christopher Lee metal albums that he did for like Christmas
No,
and shit.
no, but
like
I have
right,
listened to him
right before he died.
I've listened to him read me the Raven.
Well,
and
up till
holy
he
fuck,
died, yes.
Don't if once you hear Lee read Poe, don't ever listen to anyone read Poe to you ever again because it's been ruined.
I mean, that
because,
sounds
like,
fantastic.
Lee, I
Yeah.
listened. It's on YouTube. There's a whole fucking playlist of like Lovecraft and Lovecraft and like Poe and stuff like that being read by people who are just
Dude,
of that
and-
caliber. Oh, it's fucking great.
We could spend a whole episode talking about Christopher Lee because he was like a World War.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't he like
Dude,
a World War II?
do you know
like,
the story
war
about him
hero
getting-
for Prussia or something?
He was
Something.
in the Queen's Army, I think,
Czechoslovakia.
wasn't he?
Well, he's-
No, he was
he is
Eastern
a-
European. He's like
he is a
Czech or
weird-ass
Ukrainian.
Well,
'Cause the Wolfen 2, or not Wolfen, what is it called? Something 2.
The Howling.
The Howling 2 happened basically because he's a war hero in that country.
That
Oh,
that
shit.
might be, but he's still British because I know this because of me. He is Ian Fleming's cousin.
Yep.
Wow.
And Ian Fleming
Uh-huh.
based Bond on him.
Yep.
Yep.
A lot of aspects of his life are
Yep.
based on
There's a
him. He
story, I
wanted
don't know
him to play Bond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lou, have you heard
And-
the story about him freaking out Peter Jackson? So Peter Jackson was everybody can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Peter Jackson was telling him how to react in Two Towers when he gets stabbed by what's his face?
First scene that's not in the movie, yes. Yeah.
First scene it's not in the movie, basically, and he's describing to Lee, he's like, "Oh, this is the noise you make," and Lee goes, "That's not what happens when you get stabbed in the back."
Yes, it's much
And then
quieter.
Peter Jackson's
yeah.
like, "Oh."
Well, I
Yeah.
might be incorrect, but I thought I had read that Christopher Lee actually met Tolkien.
Yeah, he had.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
is super old. He's dead
Oh.
now, but
He,
he was
Right.
born.
claims
I'm looking
that
at it. He was
Tolkien
born
wanted
in
Lee-
to kill Gandalf.
I think the thing he said to Jackson was like, "You don't need to remind me how it feels or what it sounds like to be stabbed in the back."
Well, no, I'm
Well,
looking at it right
yeah.
He
now.
talked about
He volunteered for the Finnish army and fought the Soviets during the winter part of World
Oh
War
my
II.
god!
Damn.
Jesus Christ.
That's bold.
he's
He
like-
has a
and we all
weird.
know
His
what he
whole
looks
life
like.
is weird.
That
He's-
took some
oh my-
chutzpah.
He's the real Forrest Gump, but better. He's the better
know.
Forrest Gump.
All I have
Oh,
to
you
say,
mean
like,
he's-
he has the
That's the show art. Somebody remind me. I'm gonna put Christopher Lee over.
Got a fucking bench.
I think
his-
Christopher
put
Lee
his
in all
head
of his
over
movies, but the
running
main one
Tom.
has to be from Gremlins 2.
Oh,
Yes.
God.
But yeah, like he
God.
has a weird eclectic life. Like he saw the last person who was ever I want to say beheaded.
Yes. Yeah. In-
Yeah.
in France, no?
In France?
Yep.
Yes,
France,
in
yeah.
France.
He's in France.
Yes.
Yeah,
He was at the last
that was-
beheading of a person for like a trial for murder or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, just weird eclectic life that
Yeah.
man led.
Dude,
That
like,
story, that story
as
came
a
up
his-
on one of the shows I watched on YouTube. I can't remember what it was. I think it was
Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah.
Poland told that story.
like
yeah,
as a
yeah.
historian, I'm like, dude, someone needs to make a legitimate documentary on Christopher Lee. Like a hardcore 2-hour deep dive
Yeah.
into this man.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's just like, oh, he is James Bond, and
He is James Bond, and then he's one of the funniest, like, coolest villains in one of the goofy bad films.
yes, he is. He's a man with 3 nipples.
Oh my god! Have you done that movie yet?
Yes, we did that one.
What fucking movie is this?
He's
That's
in
the
the
man with the golden gun. And the titular man with the
Salamanca.
golden gun has 3
He's
nipples.
Salamanca. His
Yes.
distinguishing trait is that he has 3 nipples. And Bond beats him, Roger Moore, by pretending he's a wax statue.
Yes. Yes.
Here's the
Which
thing,
is not very
there-
hard for him.
There are a lot
that-
of Bond movies I have not seen that I probably should have, but like all my Bond stuff came through my dad. So
And
if
that
he
is the
didn't
movie
show-
where what's
So-
his name is also in it that plays from that was with Ricardo
Fantasy
Montalban
Island?
from Fantasy Island. That's in it.
Yes. Yeah, he's also
Tattoo?
Hervé Villachez.
If-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
if it didn't come through my dad, I just didn't see it, and like I never sought to just like look up James Bond movies as an adult outside of like the ones I saw as a kid to make sure they held up. So like, there's still a handful of Bond movies I have not seen. I haven't seen
Mm.
Moonraker, and yeah, I haven't seen
Yeah.
Man with the Golden
Yeah.
Gun.
Man with the Golden Gun is one of those ones that's like a great, again, to go back to where we started, like FX Sunday movie. It's so dumb because he
Yes.
doesn't even pretend, like he literally he's gambling as James Bond. He's not he doesn't use another name. He's always James Bond. It's Roger Moore. I think it's like
Yes.
his 4th movie.
Well, by the time no, it's only his second movie.
Second
Actually,
movie,
that's
okay.
the insanity of it. But like by the time you get to Roger Moore, Bond does not give a shit anymore.
No,
He's
what-
just
what is
James
it-
Bond.
what's
The
the movie
Roger
with Baron
Moore movies-
Samedi?
Baron Samedi's that's his dude. That's his first movie. His
Okay.
first
Okay.
movie has him going to a mostly black country in the Caribbean, and like
Is that Live and
beating
Let
people
Die?
up. Yeah, that's Live and Let Die, and
Oh
like
my god, with the
is that
Wings
he
song.
rides into Harlem and goes into a
Yeah,
bar.
Oh,
that
God.
that is possibly the second most racist Bond movie.
Well,
That's How You Live Twice.
It's only racist because of like removed from the context, and like they're doing blaxploitation, but they
It
aren't
is a
anyone who made
blaxploitation movie
blaxploitation.
where the
Yeah,
king of an African country is also like a Harlem pimp and drug dealer.
yeah.
So is that the movie where he is dancing with some woman and he shoots her in the back, or someone shoots her, and then like he just drops in a
Yes.
chair and he's like, "Oh, well,
She is
she's
shot-
just dead. She's dead in her
Yeah.
feet," and then he
Yeah,
just walks
because the
away from
bad
this dead
guy
woman.
is what's his name? He's a big actor in like the
He's
80s.
Alien. He's fucking not Dallas, fucking Parker. He's Parker from Alien.
Oh shit,
He's
right.
he's in Running Man.
Yeah. But
What's his name?
all you need to know is he's the guy in Alien who's like, I'm gonna fucking kill this thing. And he says it multiple times in the movie. That's the bad guy, and he plays dual characters. He plays the president of a small Caribbean country,
What the
and
shit
then-
is his name?
and then
Yaphet Kotto?
basically
Yaphet
Kingpin.
Kotto, yes.
Yes,
He was
Yaphet
in the
Kotto.
Heat of the Night TV show.
Yeah.
Yep.
He took
Yeah.
like Yaphet Kotto is a legit actor, and he's playing
Yeah.
he's basically, if for people of 2021, if T'Challa was also a pimp in Harlem.
T'Challa was also Cottonmouth. If T'Challa was, if he was both,
That is the plot of the movie.
basically, and it's a big reveal, and he has like a white woman sidekick who claims
Oh.
she can see the future.
The finale of that film is so hysterical because he has a pill that turns into like a flotation device, like a draft.
Oh,
Well,
doesn't he blow up?
It fills you with nitrogen. Yes, it fills you with like
Yes.
nitrogen or something, and he blows up into a balloon.
It is
Look up
easy.
look up
It
Yaphet
is
Kotto
so
balloon.
funny.
It's
Oh, it's so
great.
funny. And again,
Uh,
the theme song to that movie is Paul McCartney with Wings.
Yes.
and his wife and his wife.
The
And
good
it's-
wife,
Let
not
Die.
the bad wife.
not the one that was like, I'm gonna take you for everything.
No, the one
Yes.
that died of
Um,
cancer. The good
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. The one that had, not the one with one leg.
No,
You're
the one
right.
that Eric quoted as the one that
Sounds
died of
like a
cancer.
fucking
The good
Lifetime
one.
movie. The Good Wife,
Yeah.
not the Bad Wife.
Exactly. So, to veer wildly from Bond, Arlen, did you finish *Malignant*?
No, I haven't finished it.
Okay.
I'm gonna
All
watch
right.
it
Well, then,
after this.
not even
But I
gonna
can
bring it
still
up.
talk
Yeah.
about it.
Okay.
mean,
Yeah. I don't know if Connor, Lou, you guys
I'm
have
gonna
seen
watch
it
it
yet.
at some point, probably tonight or
I
tomorrow.
have no time for nothing. So when I have time for
Okay.
That means you
something,
have, that means
it
you have
has-
plenty of time for this if you have no time for nothing.
I watched one episode of the final season of Lucifer today, and I was excited.
you have no time to die?
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed parts of *Malignant*, but as a whole, it was okay to me. I mean, I'm sure I've seen a lot of people who were definitely hyping it up a whole lot and saying it's the best thing ever and blah blah and it's insanity, and I don't know. Maybe it'll hit you different, Arlen, the last like 20 minutes or so, but
what
I don't know.
I saw was like, boy, wasn't great until it suddenly wasn't.
See, I was
I-
hearing the opposite, was that the
Yeah.
beginning people didn't like, and then like they got like further into it and they're like, oh, don't let this ever end.
No, I've heard that it gets real like buck wild towards the end.
It
and that's
does.
the part that people really love. And I might like that because the movie it makes me think of the most, just based off what I've seen of it already, is it reminds me a lot of Dead Silence.
Okay.
Stylistically, yeah, like
Okay,
a lot of it.
All right.
It's a lot like Dead Silence. And Dead Silence
Hmm.
is like kind of bad, but when you get to the end and it goes entirely insane, that's the part of the movie that I enjoy the
The
most.
moment that movie stops giving a shit is when it's like fucking top tier entertainment. It is so
All right, well
fucking
then,
weird. and funny.
I think you're gonna like the end of this, then, Arlen.
Probably will.
That's maybe that's my thing, is that like, and how I've never known exactly how to pronounce it, like the type of film, like giallo, is that it?
Giallo.
I think
yeah.
Yeah.
Giallo. Like, I've never been a huge fan of giallo films. Like
Yeah.
there are parts of them that I really like, and other parts of them like this is terrible. And it's I think it's where it's a style over substance. And
Mhm.
who is eating clams? Like, what is going
Yeah,
on, Leo?
someone has to put their phone down.
I think Leo might be making clams. Is that what we're hearing, or is that?
Sorry, I was throwing the trash away because closing the restaurant. I'll mute. I'll go back to mute. I forgot. I thought it was.
No, you're fine. You're fine. But on what you were saying about Giallo, I agree, Eric. That's why I had to force myself to do a marathon last week because they had never really appealed to me. I could never find
Here's,
one where I was
like
this is interesting.
in typical Joe fashion, like if you asked me and Joe, like, what's your favorite Giallo films? I would go, I don't fucking know, and he would name like because I can't like maybe
Monsters of the Closet.
maybe Tenebra, and that's about it.
Right.
But like, I'm sorry,
Tenebra's
the Butcher of the New York Slasher, New York Slasher, whatever the fuck it is, like. The kid in that movie has a fucking kazoo voice. I can't take it seriously.
Oh,
There's
God.
nothing.
Yeah.
It's all like it's also so like now that I've established like I do have a certain like threshold for my senses. Like those kinds of movies now, physically, they make my fucking whole face hurt. Like I can't do it. Like it makes me like want to like it makes my teeth itch. I think is a phrase I would use. Like it's just
that's a great way to describe it.
Yeah, like I can't do it. And like the ones I've seen growing up, like Tenebra's good. Like what is it?
Don't torture a duckling.
In general, just
Blood and Black
just
Lace.
from what I
Blood and Black
saw.
Lace fucking rules.
Yeah.
But like that's about it. Like I can't think of one where I'm like, yeah, I love that movie. It's like, no, I can't think of anywhere I really loved them. I've just seen them and thought they were, pretty good.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. And I mean, maybe that's my problem with this movie is that like it is wearing those influences on its sleeve. Like it's made a skin suit out of them and is parading around in it because that is what this movie is. It is James Wan doing his own Giallo film. And that's fine. I applaud that. But it's still just I'm not into Giallo films. So I think that's why I'm just kind of like, this was okay.
I also think with my other problem with Giallo movies is like when you see more than one, I feel like you've seen all of them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
I got that feeling. I definitely got that sense from watching a lot of them. And the ones I watched were very. Is that a cat?
I know.
No, I went outside with my dog, and she has a toy that is a not the current president. But
I thought a cat walked up to the mic.
It's not the current president, but it's the previous one, and she decided, oh, it's this late at night. I'm gonna squeak it because fuck y'all.
Right. Yeah.
See, I thought maybe Leo worked at a cat factory, and when he said he was taking out the trash,
I thought someone found a
throwing out the
fucking
bad
kitten.
kittens.
No. If anything, I'm Korean. I would have been making something and like preparing a dish.
God damn it!
Wow,
God
that's
damn
great.
it, Leo.
I can make
at
those
least
jokes. I'm allowed.
Yeah. Right,
At
exactly.
my uncle's house today, I ate a lot of Korean food. I get to
No,
make.
I was talking about Eric.
Well,
Just because I work at a sushi restaurant, you gotta make the.
I
cat
didn't. I know. I didn't.
Do you
know
really?
Wow,
Sushi
very
restaurant.
classy. Very
I
I
didn't
classy.
did not
know
know
that.
that.
No,
I am a
I
big
was-
sushi fan.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Wait. Do you actually work at a sushi restaurant, or is this you trying to cancel someone else because you haven't been able to cancel me yet?
I work at a sushi restaurant. Yeah.
I love the little laugh. Like,
If Connor gets me on Movie Dumpster one time, I will actually literally send him a card that says you are uncancelable. I promise you that, Connor.
If
But,
I ever get on Movie Dumpster, I already have my killer intro line. Because at the beginning, they always say, I'm this and I'm that. And I'm going to say something, and it's going to ruin all their careers. That's it.
I think this is like a joke because like literally all our Vin Diesel talks started from talking about because I literally right before we started finished Movie Dumpster and the Fantastic Four episode and was like eye rolling at the guest comments about the MCU and how it's like Fast and the Furious, and that's how we got on Vin Diesel.
No, but Leo, I honestly had no idea you worked at a sushi restaurant. I just like the idea that you worked at a factory and there was just a line of cats coming off of it, and all of the defective ones were the bad kittens that got thrown in the trash.
my
and that's
God.
why we
Oh,
heard that.
So shit at Futurama. Oh, these are defective cats.
But if you want to try and cancel me, go for it. Go for it, man.
Yeah, Eric has said far worse things than I've ever said in this show, so knock yourself out.
But none of
yeah,
mine have been
yeah.
racially motivated.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, Eric's from a different time. Eric's from a different time, so we have to remember.
right, the Harvey
historically-
Weinstein defense.
That was the snootiest thing you've ever said to me.
You have to remember historically. We have to take in the the whole world and where he grew up.
racially motivated.
Eric's like the grandpa that we all know that says things, but they don't know that
Right.
they're wrong.
Oh no, I know exactly what I'm saying is wrong, especially when I talk about the 12-inch teeth that are coming out of Pennywise's 18-inch hog.
Oh,
If I
God.
scream
As far
loud
as-
enough, you can't hear.
What movies did you watch for this fucking thing?
Dude, I'm gonna have to. I'm too fucking loaded right now. Let's see.
Yay!
Uh,
Drunk cast.
well, we're at the end of a 2-hour show or approaching it, so yeah, that's gonna happen. Fuck, what were they?
I know you saw Tenebro. That was one of them.
I did. I watched 2 Argentos right in a row, which was not the plan because there
That's
were
a lot to deal with.
Fuck.
yeah.
Harlan's a masochist.
Well, because it was gonna be like 9 movies, but I started 4 hours late, so I had to cut some movies. Let's see. I watched The Evil Eye, a movie called Your Vice is a Locked Door and Only I Have the Key.
That's very much a Giallo title.
Yes, it's not. It's more of like it's more Hitchcockian, which is whatever. You know, you can.
Okay.
That movie is also very. That's the horniest movie I've ever seen. Outside of like
is that the
hardcore
movie that you
pornography.
Is that the one you posted on Instagram? I literally looked at it and I was like, "How is Instagram not taking this down?"
No,
This
dude,
cover?
I'm shocked the post hasn't been taken down already because
I
after
literally-
I was like, oh right, Instagram doesn't like nipples. Am I gonna get an Instagram post?
Yeah, I
taken
saw.
down?
Like, I was just sitting there, like I had notifications. It's like, how is this up?
Right. I'm still shocked it's still up. But that movie it might as well be porn. If they had shown like penetration, it would be.
Well, that is like a thing of the era. That's how they got away with that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
it is. But it's
Well,
not.
especially in Italy, especially.
Yeah.
And then I watched Deep Red and Tenenbaum back to back.
Lord, how is that still on your page?
Is Deep Red the movie where the sharks lose at the end and they have the hat?
I have
I'm
not seen-
sorry.
It's the
That is
prequel,
such a-
the
that
Deep
is
Blue
such-
Sea.
that is
Yes.
such a bad dad joke. I'm so
No, but I
Yeah,
loved
joke.
it, Lou, and that's what matters.
What was I
Um,
was looking at your page. What was the last 3? It was Tenebra, Deep Red. And what else?
Deep Red. And then there's this new one that they made called The Last Matinee, which is like a Uruguayan and Panamanian, not Panamanian.
Wow, we all look the same to you, hard guys.
For
Wow.
Panamaniacs.
Chilean film.
I just want to say, like, when I talked, like, I literally, because you guys knew in the chat, like, when I did my first week of the kids, I was asking them what they were into. It was all horror movies, and all of your like Latin American ones they've never heard of, and I was shocked.
Huh.
Like, it's a weird because then, like, most of my kids are like Latino, Hispanic. I teach 2 classes that are like English language learners that are mostly Hispanic.
So no Terrified fans in your class?
No, I literally
I
we
might
were
have to
doing.
make- I might have to make an
Well, those
appearance
movies
because
are
you're
very
very
I
niche.
remember. Do you remember what I messaged? We were playing.
Hey, you
Hangman.
brown fuckers.
So we were playing Hangman. What movies do you like? I was like, oh, I remember this. I made it. I did the dashes for English and Spanish, and no one got it. No one had heard of it. And it's a 70 to 80% Latino class.
Mm.
like it's English second language learners, and I was like shocked. That's why I was messaging you guys, and they were all horror movie fans because they all have Netflix and they watch everything horror on Netflix.
Oh, well, that's their
Which-
problem. They're watching it from Netflix.
Well,
Well, it did show me that
we
like,
can go 10
Netflix-
rounds on that on another night, but that's a very inconsistent quality level. If you just
it kind of opened my eyes to like Netflix is kind of for like a lot of like younger crowds like the big thing of like how their entries.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who just aren't going to turn off what they already have. They're not going to go outside of what they have.
Well, and if you're going to put your money into one service,
Yeah.
I kind of get the Netflix angle of it.
Right.
Well, and like it is like a Tubi thing, but you're paying. It's the quality is different, but like the well of horror films on Netflix is so fucking deep that I guess if you had the time just to hack through it, you'd probably find some stuff that really floats your fancy that no one's fucking heard of.
I will tell you, there are two kids in these classes. There are the kind of, this is going to sound terrible, the normie of the groups or the Netflixers, and then one or two in the classes are the Disney Plus, and that's it.
Oh,
And the
God.
Disney Plus kids are hardcore like comic nerds, and they watch everything.
Man,
And the kids out there were like, they're the ones they said they're like Loki was amazing, and they said like Falcon Winter Soldier was the best ever. Those were the things they told me because I have a Anthony Mackie Captain America poster in my room, and they saw it and they were like, this is awesome. Like the three kids that have Disney Plus, and everybody else is Netflix.
interesting.
The rest of them are all wearing Platinum Dune Texas Chainsaw Massacre t-shirts. Like,
Oh, there was a kid that was wearing a Wu-Tang shirt. I'm like, oh, yo, Wu-Tang, yeah. And they're like, huh? And I was like, you're wearing a Wu-Tang shirt. And they're like, I'm like, do you not know who the Wu-Tang are? And they're like, no. I'm like, you get an F.
Yes,
And I'm gonna
right away.
What?
yes, because they
Well-
sold their imagery to I can't remember what company.
I guess, but
I saw a Wu-Tang shirt at Target today.
yeah, okay,
So,
yeah.
So
Wu-Tang is for the
I'm
masses.
sure. I assume it's the RZA, and RZA has made millions off of.
I
the
mean,
Wu.
he has
I
the
don't-
right to go full Kiss, I guess.
I have
If
a
anybody
Wu-Tang Black
deserves it.
Panther shirt that I will wear
Right.
at some point.
Yeah.
oh yeah, the Wakanda Forever one that looks
Yeah.
like the Wu-Tang. Yeah, like it looks like the
Yeah.
Wu-Tang Forever album cover.
Right.
Yeah, I have that one.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, so not to go too deep into anything else, being that we're coming up 15 minutes on 12, but Arlen, what did you think of In the Earth? And I don't know if Lou will be familiar with the director. Connor, you might be, which I can't remember the director's name right now.
Ben Wheatley is the director.
oh wait,
yeah,
what
but-
did he do?
It's a movie called In the Earth, and it's on, was it Shudder?
It's on
Or was
Hulu.
it Netflix? Oh, it's on
in
Hulu. Yeah.
States. It's on Hulu on the States. So if Ben Wheatley is somebody you like, watch this. And even if he's something you don't like, watch this. Because I
Yeah.
think this is.
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, you probably heard him in a couple different places because he was almost up for a bunch of big movies. He's one of those
Mhm.
directors who he had the option to do much bigger movies, but he kind of chose not to.
I decided to go do A Field in England.
Right, A Field in England and the one with Tom Hiddleston where he's naked for the last 30 minutes.
Fuck, what is
High
it?
Rise?
Bronson.
High Rise?
Oh, High Rise. Yeah. I was thinking. Sorry, I was.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
thinking
looking
something
through. He did.
I never
Free
finished
Fi-
that.
His big movies are Free Fire, High Rise.
else. Oh,
this
Free
is
Fire was
Doctor
good.
Who.
Free Fire, I like
enjoyed Free
most
Fire.
of it. The problem with most of his movies is a lot of the times the ending just fucking bites it. And I would
That's the worst.
I would even say that that's a thing with In the Earth. The movie where he fucking kills it with the ending, that was not intended as a pun, is Kill List. That's the one where he fucking...
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. I've seen Kill List.
Yeah, same
You've
same
seen
director.
Ben Wheatley.
Damn, the
Come on.
cast for Free Fire is insane.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's probably his biggest movie in terms of
Kill
like
Kill
cast.
List is fucking man. You get to that
Weird.
ending, you're like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
the Earth is kind of the same way, but it's
Yeah.
I don't know. Like the ending to In the Earth is a little bit more subdued than I was expecting. Like, I feel like everything else that happened in the movie was like, okay, this is a Ben Wheatley film. And
Yeah.
then like the ending, you're like, oh, this is kind of quiet and makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, this doesn't completely undo everything you've been
Yeah.
building up
Yeah.
to, which is I feel happens in a lot of his movies. Whereas
Yeah.
like that was out of nowhere. High Rise, I can kind of be like, well, I'm sure that has something to do with the fact that it's based off of a
J.G. Ballard's. Yeah.
yeah.
Is
so-
High Rise the one with Hiddleston?
Yes.
It's Hiddleston.
Okay.
And,
There is, I will say, like, to promote another podcast, there is a Best Movies Never Made all about that film. And
Cube guy was going to do it.
yes,
Oh.
and it is really interesting. I do like what they went with, but it is a very interesting concept that I still think kind of works. And I
Yeah.
don't think anybody's really nailed it.
It's an interesting concept. I don't. And maybe this is just because I've been spoiled by the Black Mirrors of the world. I don't think it works as well in a movie format. I think you do something like that, either very short, or long,
Like an
form.
HBO series, like a mini
Yeah.
series.
Yeah, you do like either very condensed or you do something long that really gets into the details.
I think there is a way to make it very prescient 2021 on an HBO or Showtime that would work really, really well currently.
Mhm.
And I think an actual guy who'd be interesting as the lead is Kang. To
Yeah,
go back all the way around, like, would be a really cool lead.
especially if they flipped the nationality to be
What's his name? I feel really fucking shitty for not knowing his name.
Jonathan, and then
Majors.
Jonathan Majors.
Majors.
Yeah.
Majors.
But on
Yeah.
the Earth, just real briefly, it's also the only one that feels like it almost felt like a sequel to Kill List.
I can see that.
Yeah, just in terms of what it's dealing with, and I'm sure that if I rewatched Kill List again, I would see that like the cult that's in Kill List is maybe related to the events of In the Earth.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, but it feels like it's the one that is commenting on that movie the most, or just most thematically similar. Although Field in England has sort of a lot of stuff in common. Field in England just is boring. I
Yeah.
found the movie
Yeah, it
really
is.
boring and very hard to watch. I was like, and I say that as the person who loves history, who loves watching movies and things about history and time periods like that. So the fact that it pushed me away is saying a lot, because that is shit.
Because I would say, like, if I like click this movie, I'm like, "Oh, this sounds interesting." You saying that as someone who's a history teacher, I'm like, "Oh, that's depressing."
No,
It's
I'm more than willing to watch something about the English Civil War, because that's not something that's covered in a lot of movies.
No, because the English are boring and they suck.
Yes.
Well,
they
and the
boil
English
everything.
Civil War is especially boring. It's just two men who have incredibly dumb opinions and points of view going to war with each other, and all the interesting stuff happens after, when they decide, oh, that's just like hang the king. That's where the interesting stuff happens.
No,
None of it is
they-
during the war.
I'm actually like, to kind of go in this way. Like, I hope that there is a future for like movies based on the colonization period of America from the indigenous people perspective. And I hope that becomes
Yes.
a thing soon.
I hope that does become a thing. I would like to think
I
that-
want a real.
I mean, we've only just gotten like a television comedy based on like
Yes.
indigenous perspectives. So, like, hopefully that is opening some doors.
Like, legitimately, I want a real Pocahontas movie, because I literally have taught about her. I'm like,
Oh,
It
what?
would
Where
be
there's a
s-
13-year-old who's raped by two
or
older
like-
men
or
the whole
like-
time?
or like a miniseries. Like, that would be so.
Mhm.
Yeah, but like to show it, like, this is history.
I mean,
Mhm.
Lou's right, because like the best that Pocahontas has, and like
The
Swanto,
movie.
is they both had those like TV movies in like the 90s, and that's it.
I,
No,
Yeah,
there
I would
was
say-
also the one with Colin. What is it? Colin Farrell? Is it Colin
Firth?
Farrell?
I
Firth.
always forget about that one. The Terrence Malick movie. The
Yes.
whatever that's called. that I
And
care.
I would say, like, somebody, like, she is not the most important character in the story, but, like, she is an important character.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Yeah.
like, yeah, like, just to kind of do more stuff with that. Because, like, I don't know, like, we tend to be, I feel like we're in, like, a 34th tangent of the show. Like, there is a very,
Yeah.
like,
Here comes number
Eurocentric,
35.
like, historical film thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And especially, like, Western Europe historical film thing. And I feel like anytime we get movies that aren't that way, they are so much fun. And I will say, like, one of my favorite ones because of this is, and this is like way tangents, like, I love 13th Warrior because it is such a aberration of that. And
Well,
I
yeah,
know it's
Coming
not
into a
real.
mason jar.
It's Europe, but not through like the Christian European.
It is such a good
view,
way to
yeah.
show it's not through the Christian lens.
Yeah.
And though we're having a Spanish guy play an Arab, all the things they do are so interesting.
Yeah.
I love it.
That movie is the first time I've
They're not
seen like a
moralizing
a
choices.
montage of someone trying to interpret a language
Oh,
the way
it
they
is-
do.
It
Where
is
he's
such
picking
a
up on
smart.
he's picking up on repetition and he's picking up on cadence and he's picking up on tone to the
It's-
point where it
It's
starts
a
to sound
two,
like
it's a,
familiar.
It's a 2-minute scene that is the perfect example of show don't tell.
Yeah.
Like, it is 2 minutes of showing somebody learning a language, and you get it. You just get
And
it
also,
instantly.
in 2 minutes, you hard establish the intellect of this character
Characters.
by and it culminates with like one of them's like, oh well, your mother's he calls his mother a pig and something like that.
Oh,
and
and his line is like, "Fuck you!" Like, he says
his
something
line is
like,
his line is like, I was born of nobility and my mother's not isn't
and
a
they
whore.
all like shit
they're all
their
like,
pants of like, "Oh,
fuck?"
you know what we're saying?"
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fantastic. It's also like one of the more it's one of the less insane depictions of Vikings I've seen on film.
Is that? I'm trying to remember. Is that originally Gaiman?
No, I think it was.
No, it's
It was a- It was a
Crichton.
big.
it's Crichton.
Crichton. Yeah.
Crichton. Yeah,
Was it
Crichton,
Crichton?
yeah.
I thought there was a big comic book name attached to that.
Mm-mm.
No,
No,
No, it's Crichton.
yeah.
No, it's Crichton, but it's based off of Beowulf.
Okay, so
yeah.
13th
Yeah, I know
Warrior
it's based
is
off of Beowulf.
well, it's based on the idea of like where did this fucking story come from, and if it has
Right.
any grounds in reality, maybe it's this, where it's like instead of a big monster, it's a bunch of cannibals, who are called
It's
Grendel.
so much fun.
Yeah, it's fucking fantastic.
And I remember,
Also, for video game
see,
fans out
the
there,
book had like shit written in the actual printing on the sides and stuff, kind of trying to show what like he was
Well,
deciphering.
I talked about this in the movie dumpster episode. Like, people called or contacted like one of the libraries in Europe demanding to know where the original manuscript that this movie is based on is, and they're like, it doesn't fucking exist. Stop calling us.
Yeah.
Oh fuck. Oh yeah. So the actor who plays the king in
The
this,
king, yeah.
Mhm.
he is Ulfric Stormcloak in Skyrim.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is like, and like he has like that final scene when he just like, and I say this as someone who's seen this movie like 8 million times, and I don't necessarily like world history, but like it is such a good way to depict, like you said, like it's an outsider version of this story of European history from this other perspective. I'm like,
Yeah.
why can't we not continue to do this in film? At least in this mini version, like, and there's so much other cool shit. Like, the film that we get on like American history is so specific.
hmm
It's so bad for the most part.
We
Like,
get movies like The Patriot, where like Mel Gibson's like a fucking superhero and he's just
and I
slaughtering
say,
the
and,
British
like,
for 2 hours.
that is the
Oh.
movie I think of, and I say this is like I love that movie for some reasons, and because that was a kind of real person, and
Because
a lot of
it's colonial Punisher is why you like the
Right.
movie.
well,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
and that guy was a real guy. That guy
Yeah.
existed. But like they add all this other bullshit that's not necessary. Like
They,
you
Mel,
have to
Mel
kill
Gibson.
2 kids.
Here's the thing:
killed
Mel
2
Gibson
kids.
also like so. And Arlen, you watch what the fuck?
Yeah,
Sing-
history buffs. Yeah.
History
yeah.
buffs.
Um,
History buffs eviscerated that movie for one reason, because he basically Mel Gibson paints the British as a bunch of like insane war crimers who will incinerate a bunch of civilians trapped in a church. Like that never happened.
Well, I have a theory. I have a theory about why that
I
happens.
wouldn't say it never happened. I
No.
would say it just
Well, no,
wasn't common.
I think in the context of the people involved in this story,
Oh,
that
yeah,
shit
yeah,
yeah.
never happened, and he was like, "This is like a criminal level of exaggeration."
Yeah.
Well, yeah, what
So-
you have to do that when you have Draco Malfoy's dad, like
Right.
he's
Yeah,
the-
he's such a
No,
good
you
villain.
don't.
Lucius
No,
Malfoy.
no, you don't. You look at his face and go, "That man's fucking evil." Just look at his face.
yeah. Well,
So-
is there anything that guy had? I don't even know the actor's name that he's
Event
done. Where he's
Horizon.
not a.
Event
He's-
Horizon. Oh yeah,
that
he
he's
just
a good
He was
guy.
a doctor.
he just eats it.
He
in
is-
Event
he-
Horizon.
No, he doesn't die.
He
He
does
doesn't die
eat
in
it.
Event Horizon.
Yeah, he does. He gets stabbed by all of his surgical equipment.
Oh, he does. Then, oh, okay, yeah, it's shit. I'm must be
It's-
thinking
it's
we mixed
Parker-
together with something else. Yeah.
It's Parker and oh fuck, shit.
Jason Isaacs is his name.
Yeah, well,
Jason
no,
Isaacs,
the two
yeah.
survivors
he
in
mostly
Event Horizon
plays-
are the kid,
yeah.
the girl, and the black guy.
Mhm.
He mostly plays bad guys.
Racist.
Even when he doesn't, he's revealed to be a bad guy at some point. Not
Do
to-
we want to wrap before we ravel too
No,
far
we're
down?
gonna
No, 'cause it- yeah, 'cause
continue
it-
for another
I was
2
gonna
hours
say-
into the rabbit hole.
I just took an
Don't let
edible.
me
That's
and
what
Lou
you're
bring
getting
us
at.
into this. Into my theory that Roland Emmerich is trying to compensate for being German, and the Germans did the worst things during the Revolutionary War. Look up Hessian soldiers, and
Hey, that's my
you'll
next
find
unit
surprises.
study this week.
So yeah, I'll leave it at that. Yeah, let's
Oh
wrap.
fuck!
Get out of here.
Yeah, I agree. I'm Connor, and I don't have any to plug except that Fantastic Four is out, where I talked about
Oh,
it recently.
it's a good episode. I liked it a lot.
Thank you very much. Where I also, as a little surprise, I talked about it here, but I put myself through the fucking Justice League of America pilot, and
Oh,
oh my god,
hey, we watched that for the comic show. and
I could not watch the whole thing because I wanted to fucking rip my
Hey.
fucking hair out.
it literally was built to be Friends, but with powers.
It's built to suck. Okay, it's just
Yeah.
it's terrible, and like
Oh,
any
and
other-
it has
any other-
one of the best actors of the era that's like
he's just-
dying.
he's fucking wasted. Like, like just absolutely in a shit.
Miguel Ferreira.
Miguel Ferrer, yeah. But yeah, Fantastic Four is certainly a movie, but yeah, that's out, and then our Arena commentary is also out too, and that movie was a fucking a blast. That movie's great. It's like pro wrestling mixed with American Gladiators on a fucking Doctor Who satellite.
Ooh.
It's so good. Like,
Sounds familiar. Arlen, do you have any plugs?
Yeah.
the
License
Jello episode we
Up.
talked about.
Yeah. License to Pod coming in strong. We're doing we should be doing a In Living Daylights episode tomorrow. So look forward to that.
So I know that song, I know that movie because of Aha, because they did the fucking theme song
yeah.
for that movie.
Right, yeah. And then nothing else. Because
Yeah.
there's
I'm
Yeah,
just preparing
and-
for the episode when there's 300 of us on the episode to talk about the worst Bond movie.
well, we'll see how that works out. We tried to get a lot of people for a View to a Kill, but we just couldn't get it together. So we'll see.
Hey, you cannot do that movie without talking to me because we will
Here's the
spend an
thing,
hour and a half.
I've never actually sat through the whole thing, so maybe that might be a good excuse to go watch it.
I
Oh
mean,
my god, it is. And I will say this every time: the plot of the movie is literally whitewashing.
it's the only Bond movie. I'll just say this right now. It's the only Bond movie I don't want to rewatch. It's the only one. I'm like,
And I will
I
say,
don't, I don't want to do this, but I'm gonna have to.
I will. I think a big topic will be: is it the worst Bond movie song?
Mission Sunday Movie seems to think so because that's how I came across it recently.
It
They
is.
talked
It
about
is definitely.
And James
top-
and Mason were like, "This is the worst thing I've ever heard."
It is one of the
It's
worst
bad.
Bond movie songs.
It's real bad. I'm not
Her
sure though.
scene is
like,
real bad.
is it worse because of the movie it's attached to though, or is it just like part of the whole milieu?
I think it's
Anyways,
part of the milieu. That's the
for
podcast.
more discussion about things like that and Joe Don Baker having 2 roles in the entire Bond franchise, listen
I will
to
buy a bottle. I will buy a bottle of Korean sake and just like drink sake and eat kimchi during the episode.
please do.
You got anything else, Arlen?
No, that was it. Yeah.
Okay. I'm Eric Fedorchak. You can find me at Eric_Fedor on Instagram. There's Fish with Dogs and Food and Cats Comics. There's some new additions to our house. We've got 2 kittens. You can find me floating around the Phantom Zone doing my Phantom Zone things. 2 things real quick that we didn't get to touch on because only Arlen and I have seen it so far is go see Shang-Chi. It's really, really good.
Oh,
It's
Kid Rock.
it's so doesn't
Don't
fall
tell me.
into. I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm not going to spoil it. It doesn't fall into many of the trappings that a lot of MCU films have had. Like,
Halfway through the
it's-
movie, Daniel Rand comes in and he just takes Shang-Chi's
All-
place.
and,
Exactly,
Like
yeah.
literally, all they want is a big budget kung fu movie.
Well, that's what you're going to get
mean,
here then.
Yeah.
Ah, thank you, Jesus.
And
Yeah.
to what Eric is saying, even when it does do like the Marvel things, it does them in ways that are interesting
You
And
mean-
done well.
So,
You mean Marvel
Yes.
movies are done like really well and
Mhm.
interestingly sometimes when they take
Uh-huh.
directions?
Yes.
and people out there who want to criticize them maybe shouldn't just paint them all with the same broad brush. And
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
The other thing is now that it's 9/12 and it's no longer 9/11, I've forgotten. You should
Oh,
all
God.
go. You should all go play the game Fugitive Hunter for the PS2, where you're trying to hunt down Osama bin Laden, and there's an amazing rap
I-
song at the
Okay,
end of the game.
I will say this, Eric.
Wow.
I guarantee there is someone listening who was not alive when the PS2 came out.
Oh, I know.
When did it come
Yeah.
out?
Yeah.
Real quick, if you want to get even more like on the nose, go play Mercenaries, where you just start killing terrorists in North Korea.
Yeah, but I mean, it ties
I will
into
say-
the 9/11 thing with Osama bin Laden
Literally,
being
Yeah.
the one you're trying
teaching
to hunt
kids
down.
about 9/11 who were not alive during 9/11 and being like, hey, I was younger than you when 9/11 happened, and we just left Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Oh yeah, one last
Uh,
thing. What's the difference between a cow and 9/11?
You can eat a cow.
You can't milk a cow for 20 years. Anyways,
Oh,
My fucking
I love it. Love it.
I thought
Oh.
I had planned on making a 9/11 joke, but I didn't get to it.
Can I
Uh,
say a visible? I am physically doing a tip of the cap to Eric.
My God.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
right. Sedation on
I
this
guess I'm
podcast.
last, right?
Yeah.
I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm a new dad. I'm tired, and This is one of the few days I can drink. So I've been drinking. So I don't
You
know.
know what's funny is that you're a new dad. I feel like you've been a dad for 50 years. Like it's
Literally 2 months on Friday. So yeah,
That's crazy.
Wow.
barely been happening.
You've
Good,
somehow
yeah.
incepted me into thinking you've been a dad since the day I've met you formally.
Well, with Connor, that's because I went back in time and I'm actually your dad.
And for
I
him
have-
to prove that, he has your Cookie Monster cup.
Yeah,
I would.
I went back in time and
Legitimately,
it
I would
turned me,
pass out if someone presented it to me right now.
it turned me into a skeleton, so I became your skeleton dad.
That's not
So-
true. Jeff Peterson is my fucking dad.
Oh, but
I mean, he's gone
maybe
by
Jeff
many names.
maybe he's your mom.
I don't know if Jeffrey Peterson is there as a male or female.
We don't know. We don't know how skeleton genitals work. We just don't know. We've never seen it. So yeah.
He's
Hey,
always in a
this is-
suit. I can't tell.
This is how I become movie Dipster canon. Like, I don't even know.
Here's the scary thing: is that there's people now who now listen to both shows, and so I'm afraid of this actually bleeding into that.
Oh, my goal is every day. Like, I literally have a thing typed up to send to the movie Dumpster comment all about Valeria, of explaining who Valeria is and why she's the best and the worst. At some point, we're going to return with a comic show and movie shows. It depends on when I'm able to get enough sleep. But yeah, check all that stuff out. Leave 5-star reviews for all the friends. So you got to go to Arlen's podcast, Movie Dumpster. You got to go to the James Bond podcast. Go to all the things. Leave 5-star reviews. Subscribe. Hit the bell on YouTube. Do all of the things. Be friends with everybody.
The Bond is on the same feed as my other one, so
Los Horror Podcast. Go do all the things. I did it. I'm subscribed on all the different channels.
I don't want to work anymore, so you people better start subscribing and watching all our stuff all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I will say, if you live in California, vote no on the thing.
Yes.
If you live in where I
Already
live,
mailed it in.
if you live
Already
in
mailed it in.
Virginia, yeah, reluctantly vote for the douchebag who used to be governor because the other guy sucks even worse. Register to vote. It is really important. Get
Where I
involved.
am, if you're where I live, don't vote for any Nazis. That's all I'm gonna say. There are too many of them that are an option. Don't vote for any of them, and I'll just leave it at that.
I like how Lou's thing. He was progressively, slowly becoming the macho man. He's like, "Don't vote for Nazis. It's not good for you. The guys work for you."
Oh, you're turning. I'm going to wear next week my polo shirt that I own. That is Macho Man. Cream rises to the top. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that sounds good.
Go.
I love that.
No more questions.
Go to your polls. Vote for the person that you want to. This Sunday
God, what
at
is
WrestleMania.
What
Because my
have we
favorite thing
done?
is when he gets real quiet.
What have we?
Macho
What
Man.
hell have we unleashed?
I don't know.
Show now.
Yeah,
We're
let's-
showing
I
a bunch
don't
of
even
Macho
know
Man
how good I
impressions
sound.
yet. All right,
I'm-
now everybody get the hell out of here. Yeah, no, right now, go.
I just-
All right.
I just did a lot of cocaine, and I'm gonna
Hold on,
drive
1
my
second.
car.
Hold on 1 second.
Is it the 10-year anniversary of his death this
Yeah.
year?
Step into a Slim Jim.
I don't know. It might be the 10-year anniversary of the tree he crashed into.
That.
He say
my
so.
God.
No, it's
He had
not
a
the tree
heart
he crashed
attack.
into. It's the
He had a heart
sacrifice he
attack.
made to save us from the.
From the Dryads?
From Hulkamania.
I don't even remember. What is the rapture? That's the word.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
So so Hulkamania.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah,
something like
Same
that.
thing.
What if
Same
the
thing.
what was that bad Showtime show where people got raptured and some people weren't?
Are you talking about
No
the
idea.
HBO show that fucking rules?
Oh my God, no,
No,
we're
The
leaving. Bye,
Leftovers.
bye,
The
bye, bye,
Leftovers?
goodbye,
What
goodbye,
if the end of the
goodbye,
leftovers
no,
was that
no,
Macho Man saved
no,
everybody?
no.
It-
Bye.
No more
Bye,
tangents.
everybody.
Go follow
And
young
let's-
_comment on Instagram.
And the leftovers wasn't about the rapture.
Moon Knight
And,
sucks.
and send Connor your pictures of your Mason Jars full of cum.
Oh god.
All right, I'm ending this. Bye. So-